What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 2024. Actually, it's not welcome back. It's welcome to 2024. It's the big thing. It's the first show of the year. So we're going to be doing a live show here today. There is a new champion of the box office amongst the studios. It's not Disney. That's right. Universal wins the box office. Is that shocking? Do we think so with the rough year that both Disney and Warner Brothers have? It's like I always think of it's like the Yankees and the Red Sox are going for the pennant, and then the Rays somehow win the championship. It's kind of what happened this year. We're going to celebrate the great Tom Wilkinson and talk about his performances and some of our favorite performances of his illustrious career. There's a few other things too. Game of Thrones. Continuing the lore, there was going to be a spin-off series they were going to do a while ago, supposed to be live action, but they're making it animated now. And there's a few other things too. Wonka won again, and just really kind of what do we look forward to seeing in 2024, and why can't I get this one particular Olivia Newton-John song out of my head? That and more with myself and John Rocha, who is somewhat responsible for today's show, because he texted me the other day and he's like, "Are we still doing a show? It's New Year's." And I was like, "Yeah, we got to do a show." He's like, "I'm available." I said, "Well, let's do it, man." And you guys have kindly said in the comments section how much you've been enjoying the shows with myself and John on Monday. So I'm glad, and I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that as well. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe to it. Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all that. But I really want to emphasize Patreon this year. It really helps tremendously. We get to speak to you guys on a more personal level. I've been doing these one-on-one sessions. We have one-on-one sessions with the crew themselves. You get early episodes. There's a lot of other things, and then we're going to do things that'll happen. Speaking of the Red Sox, once we get to 600 paid patrons, I'm going to have to watch the freaking 2004 ALCS with the Red Sox and the Yankees with JTE. It's horrendous. I see my co-host John Rocha shaking his head. It's like I'm watching a horror film. So that and more, what happens on Patreon when you join. So we are going to go over a few stories today. And as always, if you want to get involved and you want to throw in super chats, we'll stay here as long as you want. Sometimes you keep us here a while and we love it. So I'm excited. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's get to it. It's the big thing with myself and John Rocha. Here we go. Welcome back. 2024, everybody. It's the big thing. Let's do it. Live show. Me and the outlaw, John Rocha. What's going on, man? How are you?
Good, man. What's going on? What's the haps and what the hell?
I know. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year, brother. Yeah, Happy New Year. Here we go. 2024.
It's funny because I was as I was saying, I lose track of time. Man,
Yeah.
like, you know, especially during the holidays, everything kind of blends together. So when you were like, "Are we doing a show on Monday?" I'm like, "What the hell? Why are we doing shows on Saturdays now?" Sunday, and then you're like, "No, it's Monday, you idiot." So yeah, I'm glad to join you, but I can't. My daughter has been watching Stranger Things. I've been going back and watching.
Yeah.
So she just hit. I let her stay up last night to watch. She was finishing season 3, so I let her do a marathon, and we didn't even hit 12 o'clock. We hit like 11:30, and we were exhausted, so we went to sleep. But she finished season 3. But dude, I have this song from Olivia Newton-John stuck in my head now, and it's "Twist of Fate." You know that one?
Yeah, it's from the film she did after Xanadu, Twist of Fate with Travolta. Yeah,
that was my next question, because you and I are old enough to remember that movie, and you can't find that film anywhere. The movie's called Two of a Kind.
Two of a Kind. That's right. Yeah,
and it's the stupidest movie that I love.
Yeah,
it's so. Do you remember the premise of the movie?
Isn't it something otherworldly where like either she's an angel or he's out of time? What was the premise?
Kind of. Not really.
Okay.
But there are angels involved.
Yes.
So it's so who's our oh my god, one of the most famous actors of all time, Oliver, right? The dude from Gladiator.
Oh yeah, Oliver Reed. Yes,
thank you. Oliver Reed is in this film, and he plays the devil.
Right.
And he's going back and forth with an angel. And basically what it is they have to, Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, for some way or another, have to team up and show that because God's gonna wipe out the earth or something.
Yeah, sure.
And so they have to, and the angel's like, no, he's done with it. And even the devil's like, he's not going to do that. And he's like, no, he's going to. And then they have to figure out a way to make them, I don't know, if fall. I can't remember what it is, what reason why. And Travolta's like this kind of second-rate criminal.
Yes,
but he wants to be an inventor. I know this movie way too well. I've seen it a lot. And it was like, because it was like their big re-team.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah.
And so, and I looked for it, dude. You can't find it anywhere.
No.
You can't find it anywhere. In a day of streaming where you can find anything, you can't find that movie. And it's not like YouTube, but like you can't even buy it on Prime. You buy everything on Prime.
Wow, that is shocking.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, that song has been just replaying in my head over and over and over again. It's a good song.
Well, look, your reach is pretty far. So if there's anybody connected with the Olivia Newton-John estate or John Travolta's estate who has
the movie,
at least an HD copy of this,
100%,
you can send to Kristian so he can watch it. Please feel free.
Give me that film. Yeah, so we put out our top 10 list. You know what's so funny about that list? Not the top 10 list, the best of with me, you, and Dan.
Oh yeah. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And what I saw like last year, it's doing like the same amount of numbers that it was in when I was looking at it last year. I was like, oh, I thought maybe it wasn't doing as well.
Yeah.
And then it did the same amount from when we put it out, just because those things are kind of evergreen with people watching movies into January and February. They're looking at more stuff. But yeah, I was really excited about that. I put out my other list, and I'm pretty sure there's a bird in here. You hear that bird?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know. It's close enough.
Is it near you?
I don't know where it is, but it's close.
Is it an angel?
It's Olivia Newton-John.
It's Olivia Newton-John's spirit.
Yeah, it is.
Come on, that would be awesome.
It would be amazing. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got a lot of things coming in 2024. What are your plans in 2024, man? Like, what are you looking to do? And by the way, I see a lot of super chats coming in, and I'm ready. Thank you, and we'll get to all of them. If you know this show, once we do our topics, we'll get to all of them. So sorry, John, go ahead.
No, Motel Geeks Brothers in here. Hotel Nerd, good to see you again. It's pretty much like work harder. That's basically it. Kristian Harloff's been really great. Every few weeks, checking in on my channel, checking on how I'm doing. And he's always like, do this, you moron. Do this, you moron. And I'm like, I'll get around to it. Well, 2024 is the year I get around to everything. And so it's time to put it all together. I've been having conversations over the last 2 weeks with some people who are willing to help. And so I am going to put some stuff together and work harder on the channel, get myself back in shape, normal stuff that people do. And I don't know, just kind of work on becoming a better person overall. It's never a finished product. And so you're always kind of, what can I work on? How can I stay off Twitter? Like all those things that you're working on really hard. So yeah, that's basically the plans. And I'm going to get back into acting, which I think is scary.
Great. That's great. Good. And for Twitter, you just need to tape your hands to like a radiator or something.
No, what you said on our show with Dan was perfect. Post and run. That's what I've got to start doing. Even though I enjoy the sports.
I'm glad you heard it. You didn't listen to it. I'm glad you heard it. I saw you the other day. It was like there's someone, and you weren't wrong. But I just like, what? Stay away from it. It's like, what did you call it? You called somebody. What did you call him? It was funny because I did laugh.
I don't know.
It was somebody who told you to stop doing. So they couldn't take you serious because you do movie reactions, and then you posted a
yeah.
But I don't know what you called him something, but it was funny. But I'm like, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, the guy said to me, "Go and
I know,
because you do reactions."
I know, and his whole channel was reactions. It was funny, but it's like, who cares?
I hear you.
I saw. What did you call? You called him something that made me laugh.
I just said, "Is this you?" You can't even write. I mean, you can't even.
No, you called him a name that made me laugh. Oh, yes, and I don't know if it wasn't clown. It was, I can't remember what it was. But
Payaso maybe. Clown.
No, it wasn't. It was something that I was like, okay, it's funny, but why? Anyway.
You're right.
Yeah, but there was stuff that was going on. I was curious if there's going to be anything that was actually happening today in the news, and there's already a ton of it.
Yeah.
And I was looking as I'm going through, I'm like, what are we really going to lead with? And man, oh man,
yeah,
this whole thing here with Universal. Let me read this story,
please.
And this is from Dark Horizons. Universal wins the 2023 overall box office. The domestic box office for 2023 is at an end, with the industry just making it to the $9 billion mark, even with a strike-impacted release schedule and no major tentpole over the Christmas New Year holiday. Deadline and ComScore analysis report that Universal Pictures has won the year among the studio, the company taking the crown for the first time since 2015. Universal pulled in $1.93 billion for 2023 by the end of Sunday, up 18% on last year, and led by the Super Mario Brothers with 575 million. I guess is domestic, right?
Yeah.
Oppenheimer 326 million, Fast X 150, and Five Nights at Freddy 137.
Yeah.
Disney is in second place, coming close with 1.89 billion, just down 2% from last year. Despite all the talk of it being a tough year for the Mouse House, it had hits like Guardians of the Galaxy 359, The Little Mermaid 298. Hey, that you can't call Little Mermaid a hit. We'll from the loss of it has, but it broke even, I think. Yeah, but either way, it adds to the grand prize. Ongoing business from last year's Avatar: The Way of Water, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, so clearly Ant-Man and the Wasp was not even close to a hit, but it still adds a bigger. This is the bigger conversation. But Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania 215, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny 174. Warner Brothers Pictures was third with 1.4 billion, up 50% on its 2022 haul. Barbie 636 million made up nearly half that total on its own, as well as being the biggest movie domestically of 2023. Nothing else on that slate comes close, though Wonka at 135 million at the end of the year is doing good business for them. Sony was fourth, 955 million, up 13% on 2022, with a good chunk of it coming from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The rest of it was adult targeted fare, including The Equalizer 3, Napoleon. Sony will have tentpoles like Bad Boys 4, Venom 3, and Ghostbusters next year to boost its numbers. Paramount was fifth with 837, the only major to see a big drop with a fall of 35% from last year, and that's due to the lack of a Top Gun Maverick-sized juggernaut. Its biggest hit domestically were underperforming titles like Mission Impossible, Transformers Rise of the Beast, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Scream 6. Lionsgate was sixth with 580 million, jaw-dropping 623% from 2022. It saw 3 films of theirs, and it handily beat the mark on all of that. You got Hunger Games, which was 323 million. John Wick Chapter 4, 187, and Saw 111. Amazon was seventh with 270 million, up 164%, thanks primarily to Creed 3, The Boys in the Boat, Air, and Saltburn, and then yada, yada, yada. So, okay, you know what goes into this, John, when I look at it all? What's interesting is we always talk about this. Like, look at Disney, for example, who came that close to winning the title again with the year that they had. Now, you look at it and you go, wait, how is that possible? Because the majority, Ant-Man, Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones, they were all losses for the movies themselves. They were losses, but in the grand pool of it all, like they're kind of like, because Avatar made a lot of money in the beginning of the year. Made a lot of money. So like, and you look at like Warner Brothers had that Barbie happen. So it starts to it sucks it, but it starts to average it out when you have all the losses like the Flash and Aquaman and all these things. Because Barbie did so well, it kind of like evens it out a bit, but it just kind of still stings for them because they're like, oh, imagine if those would have done well. You know?
They'd have crushed, right? They'd have crushed if those Marvel films had done well. But to me, it's kind of like, I know I'm going to say this will get maybe a little bit of trouble. It's kind of like a YouTube channel, Kristian, right? We know those YouTube channels that go like 1 video, 2 videos a day, and cumulative, they make, say, 200,000 views or 1 million views for the month, right? And then you have those YouTube channels who do 1 video a week and they make the $1 million view or 1 million views or whatever a month. So it's a matter of how you want to quantify success. Warner Brothers, when you look at Barbie, that's 50% of their gross. If Barbie had failed, imagine what Warner Brothers' take would have been at that point. Like, it just would have been an absolute
look at Paramount. Look at Paramount.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at Paramount. Exactly. Would have been the same thing. So you'd have looked at that and been like, well, what a terrible year for Warner. So it just shows you how tenuous this idea of being on top is, and how one movie or a couple of movies can make a difference depending on how you approach your year. And teasing what we're going to get next year here for some of these other studios like Lionsgate doing well with Hunger Games and John Wick Chapter 4 and Saw X. They were up 623%. That is madness, right?
Well, it also shows you, dude. It shows you how powerful and what it goes back to my analogy of what I said before: the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays, right?
Yeah.
The Yankees you could look at as, or the Red Sox rather, who had a bad year, could be looked on as, like, let's say it's Disney. right? Or more so the Yankees, but let's say that they're the Red Sox, and they have players that just didn't play well this season. But they pay a lot of money to play well, and they didn't play well. So that's Lucasfilm. That's that's Marvel. They didn't play. They played okay. They had a couple good games, but for the most part, they didn't play to the potential of why they're getting paid the big bucks. But if they do have those big seasons, and they do have, then it's like, because if Ant-Man would have gotten to $1 billion, which not even close, but if Ant-Man would have gotten to $1 billion, if the Marvels would have performed, right? If all of these movies that didn't do well would have performed, it would have blown Universal out of the water. Because they had the assets. Universal used all their assets that they had, and they won the title. But and same thing with like Warner Brothers. If Warner Brothers would have had, because of Barbie, if any of those movies, if Shazam or The Flash or any of those movies performed, it would have been the Yankees versus the Red Sox, with Warner's going, ha ha ha, look at that. But Universal kind of snuck up their RFK sneaking in the background.
It's like fantasy football. I lost my fantasy football championship this weekend to a guy who was 7-7 and squeaked into the playoffs at the last minute, and he ran the table and beat us all because he hit it at the right time. Snuck in there. Universal in the same way, just kind of quietly doing their thing piece by piece, and then they're standing at the top of the mountain at the end of the day. But I mean, clearly, Kristian, those films not doing well is why Disney is going back into the warehouse to fix things and slow things down. And next year's not going to probably won't be a big year for Disney either, as they kind of take a step back and then hit it in 2025.
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
That's the one title that has an opportunity for them to win, to get them to that kind of Barbie level. They had that. I want to actually, we'll go over some of the stuff that they have coming out. I want to see upcoming releases for 2024, and I wonder which ones have an opportunity to, because you're right, they don't have a lot of Marvel stuff coming out.
No.
So in January, I'm looking at the stuff. They don't have anything really coming out in January. They're what they are doing is they're re-releasing some of their Pixar movies during that didn't hit during the pandemics. Like Soul is coming out in January. I actually think this is a smart move. Because it's like, how much money are they going to spend on the marketing themselves? Plus, you give it a theatrical run. There's nothing coming out in January, and there's really nothing for kids. And maybe there's something that's like, well, the one thing that you could say is that people are going to look at it and go, oh, I can watch this on streaming. Why am I going to go out to the theater? But you're putting it out in a month that there's nothing out for kids, and there's nothing really out. So if it's not gonna hit you in the pocket too much to re-release it, give it a shot.
I've already seen the stand-ins, or the stand-ups rather, all these theaters like was it Turning Red? They have that one up there, and they have Soul one up there.
That's February. That's February. So that's their next release, and it's probably obviously because of the strike. There are things that they had to push, so they probably came up with this plan of like, well, let's put a little money into, like, some marketing and getting these things back in. Like Turning Red, both of those movies, Soul and Turning Red, very well received by the people who have watched them and like them, and they and I thought they're both really good movies. And so you put them out now, January, February. That's the only cost is the marketing right there, and they're going up against, and Turning Red is going up against Lisa Frankenstein. I don't know what that is. Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us from Sony. Okay. And that's what competition that's going to have. Again, nothing for kids. So I've seen both those movies. I might actually, both my kids love Turning Red. They love it. So I think if there's nothing, guys, you want to go see this in the theater? And they're probably like, because they didn't have a chance to do it.
Right. There's something sweet about seeing films in the theater, even though you've seen them for the first time at home. I mean, I loved going to the classic films rather in LA when I lived in LA in those theaters, because it's just a whole different experience. So why not take your kids and see it in the theater?
Yeah, because they don't have anything, dude. You're right, because they're going, because then in March is Luca.
Yeah, right.
So they're going boom, 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 and then I bet you they have something fairly big in. Well, probably it's May, but April, nothing.
Yeah, here looking at, because I think Marshall sent us it. The first Omen is the one they have in April. Then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes,
20th Century Fox, right?
Those are all under the banner of Disney, but yes, 20th Century. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. So 20, and then then that adds to why they are going to have a good year, because apes.
Yeah, Apes is supposedly incredible.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got okay. So yeah. So First Omen is the first one in April.
Yeah, which
Um,
who knows how that's gonna do,
who
but
knows? But it's something. Look, how much could that movie have cost?
oh, right, yeah, oh, no, 100%. Yeah,
Right.
probably like 30, 40, 50, 60 million, not much.
So they're as you mentioned, they're playing already from this strategy. They're
Yeah.
playing a different game.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
playing a different game. They're trying to re-release, make a little money on some stuff that they couldn't put out in the theater in the first
Yeah.
place, and then they open in April with a smaller budget horror film.
Yep.
Which could do well, depending on what it is. And then May, they don't really. May they have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and that's going to crush. That's going up against. Well, I think Furiosa should move.
100% think Furiosa should move.
Yeah,
100% think it should move.
they're going to get killed. Garfield is not the same programming that weekend, and that's you have a chance to see something with your kids. So
yeah,
Sony's in good shape there. But Furiosa coming out and on the same day, they need to move.
Yeah,
that's a bad move.
100%.
And then I wonder if because they own the Muppets, right? The Muppet
Yeah.
movie's doing a re-release in June. I assume that's probably something that they would see too.
Yeah.
It says Fathom Events, but I don't know. Inside Out 2 is a movie that could do really well in June.
Yep.
Their strategy, what it is not bad so far. The Bike Riders, I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's the new one with Austin Butler and Tom Hardy.
Okay, so how much is that? Yeah, that can't cost too much to make.
Yeah, the motorcycle riding film. Yeah, it's an independent film, so it's a
okay.
Yeah.
And then they have Deadpool 3 which is actually listed as 20th Century Studios, by the way.
Oh wow.
It's not listed as, I don't know if that's the case, but it's listed as 20th Century Studios. And
I guess because it started at Fox first and then come over, maybe.
It's also a way for them to not have the rated R brand associated with Disney.
Bingo.
So that's probably what it is. So far, up until July, Disney strategy. I understand the strategy, Rocha.
He's making Paramount miss.
That's right. Yeah. So, and then August 16th is the Alien movie.
Yeah.
Romulus.
Which we heard almost nothing about, by the way. And we're 8 months away from that thing.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything to me anymore because they could start to do a little bit more of a push once they have an actual trailer and then people will start raving about it. Remember, we didn't see a trailer for Avatar.
That's true.
And then August 16th was supposed to be something like there was an untitled Disney film that was supposed to come out, but it's going up the same weekend as Alien Romulus. So they moved whatever the hell that was.
Yeah.
And then let's see where they close out.
The Amateur in November.
Yeah, I don't see anything in September. What is that? What's the Amateur?
I have no idea what the Amateur is, but it sounds like some version of a hit assassin film. Do you think that? I mean,
who's in it? Do you know who's in it? Let's see. I'll tell you right now. Rami Malek. That's
yeah, CIA cryptographer who manages to blackmail his agency.
Okay, and there's an untitled Disney animation, is all it says, in November 27th, so whatever that is. And then they've got Mufasa the Lion King in December. So they are set up in like I said, I do think the strategy makes sense. There's nothing where you're like, oh, that movie costs an arm and a leg, and that's a big risk.
Right.
It's like I don't see any of those. I mean, Mufasa. Maybe, but I could also see why you take a shot with that one because it's the Lion King brand, and you can have the kids out there to see it. It's the Lion King, and you get to see Mufasa as a young cub. So, I think that they're poised to take the championship back if they do. Because if you look at, I mean, we can do this. Let's do the same thing. We'll do this. You want to do the same thing with Universal?
Sure.
Let's do the same thing with Universal. And I actually kind of like the counter programming we did here today. I like this idea. January.
Okay.
Night Swim. I don't know that. I mean, I'm going to see that one.
Yeah.
It's a horror with Wyatt Russell, right?
Yes.
Who I like. But I don't know. I mean, again, that's a smaller movie,
right?
So Universal they start there. That's their big one in January.
Yeah, this Friday.
Yeah, and then Argyle, which could be pretty good.
Looks fun.
I think it looks pretty fun. That one could be. So that's February for them. So far, again, understand they don't take these big, huge. I mean, they as they mentioned in that article, which as I want to be fair to both studios when I criticize them, is that where I said about the Little Mermaid and Indiana Jones, Fast X, they listed it as a movie that made money. It added money to the account, but it certainly lost. The movie cost like $375 million to make.
Didn't even break $1 billion.
Even break $1 billion. So that movie lost money for them, but in the grand scheme of things, clearly helped them add to that grand total.
I think we've hit the peak, by the way. I don't think those Fast and Furious movies are going to make the money they used to. Very reminiscent of Transformers movies, and you know about those. I know about those.
Yeah.
Like they hit that peak in the middle, and then boom, those last two films didn't do quite so well, and then we got Bumblebee and all that. So, and even the most recent one underperformed, even though they put that money towards how the overall box office did.
Yeah.
So I think we're done with Fast and Furious being.
We're not in the golden age. We're not in the golden age of the billion where everything can hit $1 billion. Because remember how shocking was in like 2015 or if it was when that Fast and Furious movie hit $1 billion.
Yeah.
And then Jurassic World did, and all these things. Like there's so many of these movies. You can bet your ass that Universal is going to do another Jurassic movie though, somewhere or another. Because every time that last movie shouldn't have made 35 cents, and it made over $1 billion again. Which is like if you're anybody over there, you go make another one. And what's so crazy to me about movies like that, it's proven that those movies will make $1 billion.
Yep.
So make the fucking thing for like $100 million. Make it a small story. Make it again. I know people are going to get sick to death of me saying this, but when it comes to like the Godzilla -1 strategy, make that Jurassic movie.
Yeah.
Make that movie for like $100 million because people are going to see it. And if you spend the money and the marketing, market the shit out of it, then let us know that we got another Jurassic Park movie, but spend nothing on it. Get actors that are relevant and that people really like, but it doesn't cost money to hire them.
Yeah, if you look at the first Jurassic Park movie, that's the key, right? Work on the human story with these characters,
right?
And then you have the monsters in those moments that are shot, or the dinosaurs, whatever you want to say, that are a sense of wonder because they look so believable and realistic. So if you combine those, which is what Godzilla -1 did, that's what people really want to see. Yeah, you'll make your billion or whatever, but no one's going to remember it. No one's going to look on it fondly.
Right.
So
I couldn't tell you anything about that last movie. Except that the legacy characters were in it.
Except the locusts. That's the only two things I remember. The legacy
I wouldn't have remembered it until you said it. Right? But there's just certain things. But continuing on, Kung Fu Panda 4 will do well for them in March.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think it'll do well. Again, if you hit with the kids' movies, there's just not a lot. Saying as a parent, there's not a lot out there. Although for some reason I cannot get my little one to watch the Kung Fu Panda. She just won't watch it. I know she'll love it. She won't watch it though. Let's see. But I always tell these stories about I tell people, the audience, my little one is essentially Silvio Dante from The Sopranos. She's a little gangster, but like I was putting her to bed. She likes when I put her to sleep. She snuggles up to me and falls to sleep. But the other day, she makes me laugh even when she says shit where I'm like, who says this to their parents? I'm laying there with her and I have her in my arm and I move my shoulder over and something falls off her little stand on the side. She goes, "What was that?" And I go, "It was my glasses." And she goes, "No one cares about your glasses." Hilarious. She's 6.
No one cares about your glasses.
Let be honest. No one cares. Doesn't matter. Put them there. Put them anywhere. Nobody gives a shit. Anyway, we're going to keep going through this real quick because this is to me a little bit more fascinating than a lot of the stuff that we were going to talk about. But before we do, I also want to tell people to throw the super chats in there. I see them. We're going to get to all those questions. Don't worry, I got John until it's over. Yeah. So let's keep going down here, where there's a untitled Universal event film in April. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's directed by Radio Silence, so that's what they've got there now. And again, haven't heard anything about this. We're 4 months away.
John, there's 2. There's one. There's one in April 5th. That's not the Radio Silence one.
Okay.
One scheduled on April 5th.
Gotcha.
And then there's that one that you're talking about on April 19th, which is the untitled monster thriller by Radio Silence.
Yeah.
One of those will move.
Yeah, has to.
Yeah, and then May 3rd is The Fall Guy.
That looks great. I love it.
May 17th they were going to have something that was canceled. And then another Universal event film on June 21st. So it's hard to really say what kind of impact they can have because we don't know what those movies are yet.
Yeah.
July 3rd is Despicable Me 4. That could do well. Speak No Evil. They're doing the kind of same strategy that, but in August instead of April. Speak No Evil is another one that could probably do well for them. Untitled, the Blumhouse one could always do well. What's the Wild Robot? Do you know what that is?
No idea what the Wild Robot is.
Wild Robot. It doesn't even tell you who's in it right now. It just says production and technical credits. That's the only thing. There's an epic adventure following the journey of a robot, Rosm, Unit 7134, Roz for short, that is shipwrecked on an uninhibited island and must learn to adapt to harsh surroundings, gradually building relationships with the animals on the island. It sounds like a Wall-E type thing.
It's a DreamWorks animation film.
Is it? Is that what it is?
On a 2016 children's movie.
I see. Okay. And then
Lilo and Stitch is doing it.
Okay, and then they have something the next week, but it's a thriller movie. It's a horror movie, untitled Monkey Paw horror thriller. They have a lot of untitled stuff coming out. So
Monkey Paw is the Jordan Peele company. So
yeah.
With that, exactly.
So this is something I don't understand. They just mentioned that Ryan Gosling jumped off that Wolfman project recently, right?
Yes, it's for Abbott replacing him. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's scheduled to come out on October 25th. How? They haven't even shot it yet.
Yeah, I don't know, brother.
There's no chance that movie comes out at that point, right? And then they have another untitled event film on November 1st, Wicked Part 1. That will do very well for them.
Yes, agreed.
And that is really it for them. So it's hard to say how they're going to do.
Right.
I don't know what they have coming out.
Well, they're filming Gladiator 2, and right now it's supposed to come out on November 22nd. I don't think that comes out by November 22nd if they're still filming.
Is that now? Where did I see? Did I miss that?
No, it's on the Wikipedia page for it. So
oh yeah, it is. No, that's Paramount.
Oh, am I thinking Paramount? No,
Paramount.
Universal. Universal is. That's what I have it on Wiki. Looking at it now, but maybe
Paramount.
I see. It's in co-production with Paramount.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah, no, Paramount's Paramount's the one that's getting it's a Paramount movie, so that's why that's November 22nd. But we'll go over Paramount. We'll go over Warner Brothers in a second though too. But before I do, as we say, we're always blessed that you guys are with us, and we're always blessed that we're able to stay on this, stay doing this week in and week out, and we do it because of our wonderful sponsors as well. And I always talk about our sponsors, and I love the fact that we got so lucky to have them. And the first one I want to tell you about is Rocket Money. Rocket Money is very important to me, and I'll tell you about it. Here you go. Hey, Rocket Money. How much do you guys think that you're paying a month on subscriptions? Yeah, that's what I thought. Most people think they're $80, $82. Yeah, right. You're paying closer to around $200. And that is why I use Rocket Money. What is Rocket Money, Kristian? Thank you for asking. I'm going to tell you, me. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it helps you lower your bills. And it's all in one place. It has over 5 million users and counting. Rocket Money has helped save its customers an average of $720 a year and $1 billion in total savings so far. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way. Go to rocketmoney.com/thing. That's rocketmoney.com/thing. rocketmoney.com/thing. All right. Thank you to our friends over at Rocket Money. As we approach 2024, and as I tell you guys, people always ask all the time how to support the show, and that's one of the major ways you can do it is if you get something for yourself and go and check out Rocket Money. Helps out the show tremendously, and trust me, I've been using them for a very long time. Very helpful. All right, bring back the Outlaw here. So let's keep doing what we're doing here. You had mentioned, well, we should probably go and let's talk about let's just talk about Warner Brothers, because I don't know how much Paramount has a shot to do it, but we'll talk about the three, because what I like to do is I'm going to go through those three after I do this, and we'll see who we think after the strategies that we've heard, and I want to hear from the audience who they think is kind of poised to be the champion of 2024. And then we can revisit how everybody was wrong when it turns out to be like Lionsgate. All right, in January, Warner Brothers, what do they have? Warner Brothers in January, I don't think they have shit coming out. And
I think Mean Girls comes out in January. Isn't that Warner Brothers?
That is.
Or am I thinking something else? No.
That's Paramount.
That's Paramount. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Taking away Paramount stuff.
I don't see anything for January for Warner Brothers.
No, Warner Brothers. I don't think Warner Brothers has anything until Dune. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. So nothing in January for Warner Brothers. February. Nothing in February.
Yeah.
For Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is off the table until March 1st, but they come out swinging with Dune Part 2. which will do very well for them. I think that's going to be a much bigger movie financially than the first one was.
Yeah.
And then it's just quiet for a little bit. But Warner Brothers has Godzilla and Kong the following month.
Yeah.
Which will also be pretty big.
Yeah.
For them. So that's 2 back-to-back punches that they're throwing. So far, so good for Warner Brothers. And then they got Furiosa. Whether it stays in May, I don't know. Yeah. But that's boom, boom, boom. They're coming out. They take a quiet approach, but then they come out with like some serious hitters from up until May. Then June they have The Watchers. What's The Watchers? Do you know what that is?
The Watchers is the one. I think that's the one. No, I don't know.
It's Shyamalan's new movie.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. So Shyamalan's got that movie now in June. That's that's The Watchers.
Yeah.
And then you've got Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1. That's
the Costner.
Yeah. Costner Western. Westerns are always tricky in the box office.
Yeah,
always tricky in the box. I think me and you are the same. I love them.
Yeah.
But I never prepare for them to do well.
Right.
I don't know. I think people just think it's like horse shit or something. Like, I don't want to smell horse shit. It's like, you can't actually smell it. I don't know what that is, but people have a thing of horse shit.
You can't smell it, D. You can't smell the horses.
Listen, I'm going to tell you. You think you can, but it's just a movie. All right, let's see. We move into July. They got nothing in July.
Yeah.
And then they have Trap in August, which is another Shyamalan movie. 2 Shyamalan movies?
Yeah, that's weird.
Whoa. So they're another movie now. And then they have, wait a second. I'm confused. And then.
Yeah, they're both coming out on the same year. Horizon. Yeah.
Not just the same year. June and then August.
Yeah. Like
that's, I remember when The Matrix came out.
Yeah.
And they did The Matrix, part 2. And then 5 months later, they did part 3.
Yeah.
2 months. What the hell is this? I mean,
I don't
this is the Kevin Costner. Like that's crazy.
Maybe this is the only way they agreed to do it. Like, okay, we're gonna do it this way, but then you got to release them within months of each other.
Yeah, I don't know. And then September, they're gonna own September because they got Beetlejuice 2 coming out.
Right.
And the smart move with that, not only is it the legacy and the big IP and having Michael Keaton return, but they got Jenna Ortega right now.
Yep.
In this role. That's big for them. And then we'll talk about the overall strategy, but I see what they're doing because September they have Beetlejuice and then they follow it up in October with Joker. All you do.
Dude, come on.
Yeah. Then we talked about the Amateur that comes out in that's Disney, excuse me. They have Alto Nights.
Yeah.
That's with Robert De Niro, Deborah Messing, and Catherine Narducci.
No one's going to see this, okay? No one's going to see
What is this?
Directed by Barry Levinson. Let me tell you, no one is.
Mafia movie, dude.
Directed by Barry Levinson, though, dude. The guy who did Rain Man, you think he's going to do a good Mafia movie?
I don't know. I don't know. But what's it about? Does it say what it doesn't even give us about? It's a Mafia movie with Catherine Narducci again and De Niro. You put De Niro in a Mafia movie, people are going to go, all right, how's the trailer?
So, yeah, it's based on true story. Vito Genovese and Frank Costello, competing Italian. Costello was part of Murder Inc., I believe. So, competing Italian-American bosses. And Genovese
Frank Costello was Irish, wasn't he?
I don't remember if he was Irish. Is he playing another Irishman?
He was a part of it. But I don't remember. So, go ahead.
Yeah, he was an Italian-American crime boss for the Luciano crime family.
Okay.
Yeah. So Genovese tried to kill him. So I guess maybe the film is about him there.
So yeah, I mean, it's got a shot. It's got a shot. Fine. Depending on, again, this goes back to the conversation of how much money did it cost? Is it a good trailer?
Yeah. Because
there are certain movies like that can hit. If it's a small, now you and I differ on the opinion of Killers of the Flower Moon as far as quality of film, right?
Right.
But we are both in agreement that in no world should a 3 hour and 45-minute movie cost $200+ million. What kind of strategy goes into thinking that movie's going to make its money back? There's no way. There's just no way.
Subject. Yeah.
There's just no way. There's no way you can get it. I mean, a movie like that normally is not going to, you're not going to $200 million. So if it's a scaled down budget, then you got a shot at that time. So Alto nice. And they must have confidence in it if they're putting it out in November.
I guess.
I'm curious. I'd like to revisit that.
I just don't know that Deborah Messing and Catherine Narducci are necessarily. Do you know what I'm saying?
Catherine Narducci has been in a ton of movies, and with him, and she's recognizable to fans when it comes to mafia stuff. She's Sopranos and Bronx Tale and all that stuff.
She was in The Irishman. I think she plays Pesci's wife in The Irishman.
Yeah, well, she's it's funny. I used to know her because of my old management company represented her, and she was very sweet. She's a very nice lady.
No, good actress.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So Warner Brothers, November 15th. So the last thing that they have is in the animation that they have is actually Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohan.
Yeah,
that comes out. That could be pretty big, depending on how that is and how it's marketed. Because I think that Lord of the Ring fans are looking for kind of like a palate cleanser since the Amazon series.
Well, Spider-Verse also, right? That kind of showed you what you could do with an IP if you put a lot of effort behind animation.
Great point.
So this could be incredible, and people could be really moved by this. Yeah.
It's a great point. Let me ask the audience here. As I see the questions coming in, do you guys want us to go over Paramount, or should we just nip it in the bud and go to the next thing? Let's see what people are saying, because if they want us to do Paramount, we'll do Paramount. If not, we'll just kind of go over the three that we just talked about and see out of those three.
Yeah.
Who we think has the best strategy and who's going to win.
Also, guys, we're a little light on super chats, and
stop it. Don't do that.
The fucking new year.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't like that. If you want to put in a super chat,
I'll come visit you.
No. Listen, here's the thing. You want to do it, you do it. If not, don't. I can't tell you John's not going to be outside your house. But
where's the money, T? Where's the money?
All right, they want to see Paramount. So let's do Paramount. All right, we'll do Paramount.
Okay.
And then we'll see, because let's see if Paramount has a shot. I mean, look, maybe the audience just did this instead of going like this. They just did this, and and Paramount winds up winning. We're going to feel like assholes that we almost went right past them.
Yeah.
They've got Mean Girls in January. Mean Girls could do very well. It's based off, because it's not like a remake of just the movie. It's a remake of the. It's a first telling, I guess, of the Broadway.
It's like Color Purple. That's out now, right?
That's right.
That's a theatrical adaptation of the musical.
That's right. And my daughter is obsessed with it. She's obsessed with the musical.
That's
and awesome. So this will do well for January, and it couldn't have cost that much money to make.
Right.
And you've got Tina Fey involved. You have a lot of people, involved with it. They're involved with the original. So it's not going to disappoint fans of the movie, and it's going to excite fans of the musical. So I think it's a very smart move for Paramount, and they'll probably do pretty well with it, I think.
Yeah, good cast too. And Angourie Rice, who was in Nice Guys and
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man. And then you've got Renee Rapp, who's very well known in Broadway circles, and Carvalho, who is, of course, from Moana. So it's a good combination of actors, along with, as you said, Tina Fey and Meadows coming back.
Yeah. Well, in February, they've got Bob Marley, which I really want to see, but I don't think this movie's going to do well.
I don't know, man. I cannot predict what's going to happen with Bob Marley.
Here's the problem with it. The problem is that it's supposed to come out in January at one point, and they had it scheduled for January, but because of the strike and everything too, they moved it to February, and that is probably because they need something in that spot. And it's a bummer. Look, I read a script on Bob Marley's life.
Yeah,
when I first moved to LA.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember being stoned off my face, reading this thing, listening to Bob Marley music, going, when are they going to make this movie? And that was like 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So they still haven't made the damn thing, and they finally made it. I think that the trailer looked good.
It looks awesome.
Looked great.
Yeah.
We forgot Sony also. Sony doesn't have a chance, right? I don't know. Maybe this is the whole show. Maybe we'll do this. And then we'll just go through it. We'll do this. We'll talk about. I want to talk about Tom Wilkinson before.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about Tom, and then that's the main stuff. We'll leave the other stuff alone today, but we'll just go through this. We'll go through Paramount. We'll go through Sony, and then we'll take questions from everybody, because to be fair to Sony. The Paramount, Bob Marley, One Love. Trying to think.
Good cast. Kingsley Ben-Adir, Lashana Lynch.
I love Kingsley Ben-Adir. I think he's such a talented dude.
Yeah.
The only thing really redeeming about, I only saw 2 episodes of Secret Invasion, but let's see.
Paramount was the guy who did King Richard, and so that was kind of a quietly successful film when of course Will won the Oscar.
I hope so, man. I'm rooting for that movie. I'm rooting for it.
Me too.
They got jack shit coming out in March. Yeah, Jack.
Who's in that?
I think it's Carrot Top and Louis Gossett Jr. It's a strange mix.
Wow,
Strange mix. Yeah. Nothing coming out in April.
Nope.
So wow, they got nothing in March or April.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
I think Bob Marley's going to carry over, maybe.
Not looking good so far for and then they have If. If looks good.
Yeah, it's got Ryan.
Yeah. If well, that doesn't mean shit. He's had tons of movies that have not done well.
Yeah, but it's in his wheelhouse, this magical
yes
thing. Yeah.
So my little one made me watch this trailer 8 times in a row.
Wow.
She's so excited to see this film. So excited to see this
wow.
film. And so this is that's one that could work really well for them. That could be a good hit. Quiet Place in June. That's their big one.
Isn't Krasinski If? So are these two Krasinskis back to back?
He's not directing that one.
Okay.
No. But he's he's right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? Because he's got that one and Quiet Place. He's still going to be a producer on it, obviously, but he is. Yeah. So that's June, and then nothing in July.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. And then nothing in August.
Nothing in August.
Wow. They pushed Transformers 1, which is their animated film.
Yeah.
That's September. They're not. This is, again, using a sports analogy. This is their year that we're building. This is their building year because they are not trying to win a championship.
Right.
November,
some good veterans, but yeah.
November 22nd is Gladiator.
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog will do well for them.
Yeah.
In December. So then we'll and that's it. So they are clearly not trying to win anything this year.
According to Wikipedia, I've got a Smile 2, which is October 18th, and that's a sequel to another
October 18th. Let's see. October. Did I pass that up?
No.
No. Yeah, I passed it. You're right. October Untitled Smile sequel in October. Yeah, that could also do well for them. It still doesn't give them a chance to catch up to anybody. And then lastly with Sony, the Book of Clarence on January 2nd. That's Lakeith Lee Stanfield. Yeah, great R.J. Seiler, great cast, Alfred Woodard. But
good trailer as well. Really funny trailer. But
again, it couldn't cost that much, but not one that's going to be like a big box office juggernaut, but could do well for them. So that's Sony. Let's see. As we move on here in February, their big thing in February is Colleen Hoover's "It Ends With Us" again. This is Blake Lively. No idea what this is. Again, doesn't seem like one that's going to be a big hit. Madame Web. That's going to be. I think that's
Madame Web.
Madame Web. That's what I call it. Madame Web. Hey, listen. Have you seen Madame Web? Can't find it anywhere.
You won't. You won't after 2 weeks. You won't find it anywhere after.
Where is Madame Web? It's in the dollar section of Blockbuster.
What's your fucking prediction for that? Do you think that movie's going to make a fucking $800 million?
No, you mean like is it going to be a Venom thing?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
See it in spite of it, like people going to try to make you think it's a great film.
No,
or they're going to throw in that Marvel's nonsense that they're throwing in all the time now. It's like, it's because it's women led. Nobody went to see it. It's like,
yeah, that's what they'll probably throw that at. But why? But in what world does someone go? Yeah, we should make Madame Web. We should do it like this. And even though she was a villain. It just looks like they're trying to take the same strategy that they did. They're trying to recreate Venom, and they've tried to do this before. Yeah. They tried to do it with Morbius, or what is it, Morbius, right? And they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do it. And it's like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the first one that kind of stinks up the joint when it comes out. I think it's gonna be
more than Morbius. Do you think more than Morbius?
Yeah, I mean, it's still one of those things. This is going to be one of those ones that I think hurts. It's going to be the first one where you're like, is what the Marvels and Aquaman did. That's going to be that for Sony. Maybe I'm wrong, because I also think that it doesn't help that those movies that I just mentioned just came out, because these movies like the Flash and Shazam and the Marvels and Aquaman, when it's like, and then Ant-Man's like boom, 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 and the casual audience is like, just stop it. Yeah. And then Madame Web comes out, and you're like, who cares? And unless it comes out and people go, it was actually fucking awesome, right? If people start, if people start, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Like, it was
yeah.
great, and people couldn't believe it. This movie's actually really clever, and it's awesome. And there was a bad trailer. We've seen bad trailers before
Yes.
represent great movies. Like I think what is it? The day. What's the freaking one with Tom Cruise? The
Oblivion? Which one?
no, that's one I love. The day after. That
Oh
is
yeah,
Day
Day After Tomorrow. Yeah,
After
yeah.
Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow is a movie. I remember the trailer and like, who cares about this? And then it was it's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies.
Yeah.
All right. So Madame Web hits, and then probably you're right, probably Gonski after that.
Probably.
Paramount continuing on.
Yeah.
We've got, am I passing through that? And that's February. So they got nothing in March.
I see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, but is that a co-production as well?
I think so.
Okay.
We're
I'm looking on the Sony.fandom.
Where do you see that? Where do you see Ghostbusters?
On the Sony.fandom.com wiki.
What day? What month?
March 29th.
March 29th. So March 29th is Sony. Yeah, March 29th is Sony.
Yeah.
I was looking at Paramount. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did Paramount, right? So you're right. Yes,
Yeah.
Sony.
Okay.
Sony is that's gonna be a big one for them.
Yes.
Sony then has Sony Pictures Classics. We grown now. But that's April. I don't see anything else from them. Now, May 10th, they've got 2 movies competing against each other right now, which is I don't understand. Horoscope.
Yeah.
And My Ex-Friend's Wedding, which is a Kay Cannon's directing that one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I like Kay. So that's interesting. Why they're going up against each other? I don't understand why they're doing that unless they move that. I don't understand why they compete against each other. And they have another movie coming out in May with Garfield.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? Why don't you just move something into April or move something into in April? That's weird. They got 3 things coming out in May.
Yeah.
That's weird. And then they have an untitled Bad Boys sequel. Is that coming out?
I don't. That's what they're saying. They're shooting it.
Wow.
So,
Okay, so that's in June. That'll do well for them.
Sure.
And then because I don't think that the Oscar thing with Will Smith will carry over
enough already.
Yeah, I think so. I think at this point, I think there's still going to be people who'll hold on to it, and I think people won't want to see it for certain reasons. But I do think that it won't damage the box office. Oh, you know what I didn't see, by the way, Disney, they pushed Snow White into 2025, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
That's not a dumb move. And you talk about something they need to get away from right now.
Yeah.
And that was.
I think you called that like a few weeks ago when I was on here when I was there in the studio. You said like they need to move that thing.
They had to move that.
And then
they have to be so far removed
Yeah.
from her silly comments. They have to be removed from those comments. And
I want to ask you a Star Wars question, but go ahead. Yeah.
Sure. Well, let's get through this and then we can do it. So then Sony Untitled Bad Boys should do well for them. Then they have a Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum film in July. I don't know what it is, but those are 2 big stars. August 24th is Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Yeah.
Then The Forge. They have a lot of like multi movies. This is the first studio we've seen that has like multi movies coming out in like the same months.
Yeah.
Dude, this is a 3rd movie in August. It's Kraven the Hunter, which is another fart piece.
I think that looks good.
There's no way that movie makes money. There's no way that movie makes money. That movie's gonna eat shit. Yeah. And then they have another movie coming out in September with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, I guess it is, in Wolves. I don't know what that is. You know what that is?
No, I don't know what Wolves is.
But we like George Clooney and Brad Pitt. So that's and Amy Ryan, who's great.
Yeah.
So far so good with Sony's, and they're changing up a little bit. It looks probably like a potential Oscar thing, you would assume.
Sure.
Nothing in October.
Yeah.
Then Venom in November 8th. Yeah, which will probably make money. That one will probably make money because it's got a brand. And then they have already scheduled for Karate Kid to come out in December. So they're poised to do okay. They're poised to do okay. What's interesting as we look at this, they all have different. You can see in the numbers each one of their strategies.
Yeah.
It's like a fighter strategy, right? Like in how it's like, all right, we're going to come out, we're going to start like Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is like, no, we're going to start off slow. We're not really going to do anything. We're going to let the other guys punch. And then once we get to March, April, and May, we're going to start throwing bombs. And it's like boom, boom, boom. And you can see them trying to do that. Disney is going, oh, let's play a little of the old game, throwing in some of their old movies, and then they come out hitting. Out of what I see so far, as much as I've been critical on Disney this year, because I think they've made terrible choices, and their budgets have been overblown, and their strategy behind story has been atrocious. I think they're poised to do the best, and Deadpool is going to help them, and Apes is going to help them well. But I do, as it is back to Red Sox and Yankees. I think I think it's a race between Warner Brothers and Disney again this year. Yeah,
it feels that way looking at all these films, because the Disney ones has the most reliable slate,
right?
Overall,
right.
And I think absolutely that's going to be the one that people are going to look at, and it's going to win out. And Disney needs a good year, right? Because everyone's talking, even though it came in second this year, which surprised a lot of people. Disney likes to be first, so I have a feeling they're going to work overtime to get people to like these movies and get people in the theaters to watch these movies.
So you can see the strategy behind it. Really, seriously, I mean, as they play it, it's like you can see what they're doing, and they're like, and as Bob Iger was saying, we're not going to spend the kind of money that we did before. We're not going to overinflate stuff. We're not going to overinflate, and you can see it in that release schedule. It's they're trying to come back, and they're trying to take it with a smart strategy and not just kind of overswing, because there's not a lot of overswings in that one. There's a lot of overswings by Sony. 3 movies in 1 month, twice in the year. You got to assume some of the stuff's going to move, but like that's interesting. They feel like they're like, okay, look, we have movies that we had to push in 2023. We have some movies that we could push into 2025, but we need to try to get money back in 2024. We need to make money. So even if we lose some of it, just put everything out right now, because we have other things we need to get out in 2025. Just stick it all in 2024, throw it against the wall, and let's see if we can make some money.
Yeah, and they've been talking about, the box office analysts have already been saying how there's less movies coming out in 2024 because of the strikes and what have you. So they think the box office is going to be down. I think quite the opposite. I think people are going to want to go to the movie theaters more and more. And I think the box office is going to surpass what the expectations are that people have overall. And it sounds like a lot of these films, from early reactions that both of us, we have people we know who work for these studios and get access to these things early, they're getting a lot of positive reactions to a lot of their films. So it could be a really great year for movies, both tentpole and independent and foreign, as we go along through the year.
I agree with you, and I also think it's important for the industry in general, because there's only one big superhero release, and no Star Wars movies, no Star Trek movies. The big IP movies are Godzilla and Kong and Dune, and there's really not, and a lot of the animated movies, but there's none of these movies that have really dominated for years. No 3 Marvel movies a year like that, and it gives the other movies in the old school way of movies a chance to bounce back. It's got, and you saw a little bit of that with like even something with like Barbie and with Oppenheimer, and these movies that were really the one that and Mario, those were the ones that took the crown this year. You're going to have Deadpool do something really, really big. It's going to be a huge movie, but there's these other movies that you have a chance to get your Mario, you have your chance to get your Barbie. Like, what's it going to be? Who's going to be the ones that really stand out and get people back into the theater to see? Because it's like a thing that happens in your psyche when you start to see these movies as a casual viewer. You're like, oh, I went and saw Apes, and it was so great to see a movie like that again. Or I went to see this movie. I've never seen a movie like that before. Now I want to go back. It's like, it adds to you going, well, I want to go back to the movies again because I just saw that. And that's a new movie that I saw. And that's why I'm very curious, as you don't think it's going to do well. And I got to see a trailer, but that De Niro movie, like, I'm so curious to see how that movie does after the trailer, because if it's a crap trailer and it's just like, it doesn't know what he's doing with a mob movie. But if it's a movie that can get people back into the theater to watch a classic mob story, which we have less time, normally that's like a streaming movie that's going to happen on Netflix now.
Right.
So if it can happen, it would be great, because, and animation seems to be poised to be doing, you got Transformers, which is a big IP, you got Lord of the Rings, which is big IP, you got all the Disney movies. So it's a very,
and we didn't even mention Beyond the Spider-Verse, because we don't know where they're going to slate that.
That's not next year.
You don't think so?
No.
You think 2025?
2025. with an early 2026 potential, but I think 2025 is more 2025, dude, is going to be, I mean, like, I don't know, like if we don't, I want to see how many, like, we have a lot of questions that we get to because but I almost want to like look real quick at like what 2025 is going to be.
I'm in.
It's just like I mean, we don't have to go each studio, but I'm going to go through 2025.
Yeah.
Like 2025 is insane, man. It's insane.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me get back.
2018. Remember, 2000 was like one after another, one blockbuster after another.
Yeah, it's insane. 225. Oh, did they move the 225 slate?
2020. Look here, what I'm looking at on IMDb, the Batman Part 2.
Well, hold on, real quick, because I have this site that I use, and like they usually list everything from like, and it's just easier for me to do it that way.
Gotcha.
Let's see, upcoming releases. Because I remember looking at it recently and just being, I couldn't believe it, like how like because they pushed, because so many things got pushed.
Yeah.
So let's see, maybe. Okay, yeah, I got 2025. Okay, right. Here it is. So this is, again, there's tons of stuff that they're going to add to it eventually too, but just in January already starting out strong. Megan 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Paddington in Peru.
Yeah.
And then there's an untitled DreamWorks animation. There's an untitled Warner Brothers. That's January.
Yeah.
February is Captain America: Brave New World, the Smurf movie, untitled Universal. That's all scheduled for February. That's all that is scheduled for February so far. So there's other spots in February. March 7th, untitled Disney film in March 7th, whatever that is. And then March 21st is Disney Snow White. So they're going 2 Disneys there. April 4th is Minecraft. April 11th is an untitled Disney film, a Universal film. April 18th is The Exorcist, Deceiver. There's an untitled Warner Brothers event film, and then there's something else that comes out from Angel Studios. May 2nd, Fantastic Four. May 9th, P-31. May 16th, Universal film. May 23rd, Mission Impossible with an untitled Disney film the same weekend. June 13th is another Disney movie, Elio, and then How to Train Your Dragon live action. June 27th, Black Phone 2, Moana live action, untitled Sony Marvel. Disney has 75 movies coming out already. July 25th, untitled Disney film, untitled Universal film. July 11th, Superman. July 25th, Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
August 1st, untitled DreamWorks. August 1st, untitled Warner Brothers event film. August 15th, untitled Disney film.
Yeah.
September, untitled DreamWorks animation film. Dirty Dancing sequel. October 2025, The Batman Part 2.
Yeah.
October 10th, untitled animated Avatar film, Last Airbender. October 17th, untitled Blumhouse film. November 7th, we'll see, but it says Blade. November 26th, untitled Disney animation, Wicked Part 2. December 19th, Avatar 3. Untitled SpongeBob SquarePants. And December 24th, The Exceptional Santa Claus movie. There's also movies that haven't been slated yet. Dr. Seuss, The Cat in the Hat animated. Thanksgiving 2, Toto. I mean, that's not even that. There's tons of stuff that is not even mentioned yet, and there were tons of dates that weren't even scheduled to put anything.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's gonna be that could be, if those movies hit, a lot of those movies hit.
Yeah,
that's the biggest box office year like ever.
Yeah, if you're gonna start a YouTube channel, do it now.
For real, you're gonna have tons to cover. You're gonna have tons to cover.
Exactly.
And considering that all the UAP is going to land, but then I'm going to be talking about stuff forever. Did you read that article I sent you?
Read it. I watched it.
I mean, did you watch it? Did you watch that thing?
Yes.
Is that pretty nuts or what? Yeah, you don't get into it.
I don't want to get into it because I don't want to believe that it's true. I don't want to believe that they're housing all this stuff.
You know, I had that conversation with my wife, and
did.
she's like, stop talking about it because it's like legit scaring me now.
Yeah, because if it's real, then all these things have been hidden from us for so long.
Longer conversation, but why in the world with these particular people that this guy's interviewing? What they're not longer story. All right, let's get to. I want to talk about Tom Wilkinson.
Okay,
and then we'll get into the questions because. So I had the pleasure of I'm very close friends with Tom Wilkinson's manager.
Oh, that's great.
So the first thing I did was reached out to him because I never had the opportunity. If I did, it was very quick, but I didn't really have the opportunity to have a conversation with Tom. But all I know is my friend Larry raved about him, talked about him all the time. So that was actually my first text was to Larry when I heard about his passing, and he was for his age, younger man, so set in his 70s I don't know if they had a cause. Was he sick?
I don't remember that there was anything that they specifically mentioned as the cause, but no, I
It
don't
just
know.
says, from what they say in Dark Horizons, is that the statement says he's passed away suddenly at home with his wife and family. Specifics have not really been revealed. The actor has boasted more than 130 film and TV credits to his name since he began acting in the late 70s, and has received 2 Oscar nominations and 6 BAFTA nominations in his time. The list of movies is packed with titles many are familiar with. In the 90s, there was In the Name of the Father, Sense and Sensibility, The Ghost in the Darkness, Oscar and Lucinda, Rush Hour, The Full Monty, Shakespeare in Love, Ride with the Devil. In 2000s, he did The Patriot, Black Knight, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Girl with a Pearl Earring, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I mean, on and on and on. 2010s included The Ghost Rider, Green Hornet. I mentioned Batman Begins before too. The Debt, Burke and Hare, Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, the Grand Budapest Hotel. I mean, so many of what he's done, and he's always just solid performances. And I think because we just would be here for another 3 hours if we talk about all the great performances it had, I thought that what we could do is talk about maybe the performance that stands out to you that you remember the most. For me, it's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Agreed.
And he's so good as the doctor and Harry, and he the complications of that character and what he did, and certain things that he does with his eyes, and the relationship he has with Kirsten Dunst, and just he just did you believe, no matter what it was. If he played a doctor, you believed it. If he played a gangster, you believed it. It's like you never said in any performance that he ever did, oh, I don't know, I didn't love that performance by Tom Wilkinson. You can say that about a lot of people, even great actors. That wasn't one of their best. I don't remember ever saying that about Tom Wilkinson, like ever.
To me, him and Jim Broadbent are in this really
very similar,
small bucket of people, of British actors that have played status up and down the list, and have played different types of people from different walks of life and made it believable, and always added an extra layer of class to the work that they did. No matter what I said, like watching him in The Full Monty, that's where I first got to really appreciate him as an actor, right? He's playing this guy who's suffering with, he's out of a job. He doesn't want to tell his wife that he got fired. He doesn't know what he's going to do next. And he has to confront this idea of like, how am I going to make money? Sitting on the dole, it's not enough for him. So he takes on this thing, and he risks so much as a middle-aged, middle-class business guy to take off his clothes and do this dance. The lower class guys, or lower economic class guys, you could understand, but him risking so much more embarrassment, but did it. So it was beautiful to watch his performance there. Sense and Sensibility. Loved him in Batman. Jesus, he's so good.
That was the thing, right? He just transformed himself to where you're like, oh, that's the same guy that did that.
Yeah, right. And I rewatched some scenes over the weekend with him and S. Falcone, and you're just like, he is so good in this film. Yeah.
So good. So love and thoughts go to his family and everybody that just was touched by his work. And it's just that he was like I said, they said in the report suddenly. So it's a real bummer. But it's like these, unfortunately, it's like the same things you are kind of left with in your thought process when things like happen. You're like, well, for that, people don't realize that is a younger age to go at. It's also, especially when it's suddenly, and you always think about the family. So Tom Wilkinson gone too soon here. So respect and love to everything that the man has accomplished. No easy transition out of that. So we are going to get to, oh, you know what, John, why don't you give me your Star Wars question? And then we'll what's your Star Wars question?
This is going to be interesting.
All right, here we go.
Over the weekend,
some
people have started speculating because of something that someone tweeted, a particular actress tweeted, that who could be Rey's Padawan in the new Star Wars movie. And you mentioned a certain actress recently, a few minutes ago. And I wonder how the internet would react.
Jenna Ortega?
Rachel Zegler.
Oh, that wouldn't go well.
I'm just saying. She already has a relationship with Disney with Snow White.
They won't do that right now.
I don't know.
They won't do that right now.
Would you? Would you explode? Would you lose your mind?
No, because I don't dislike her. I think her comments were not great. I thought she was great in Hunger Games. Yeah. I thought she was great in Hunger Games. And then, I'm not. I mean, my thing is the way that I approach this show and other things though too is like I think this is what people do wrong on the internet is that they're if you're and maybe not wrong because if you have a hate channel and you're leading with hate, you have to continue to hate things because that's your brand now. Yeah. It's your brand now. In the same way that people who like love everything, like the everything is awesome crew, as I call them, it's like there's just no balance. It's hard to be credible on that side. You'll have people who just will champion you and say, yeah. And then if you go against something that either one of those people say, if you go against the people who love everything, well, then you're a hater and you're part of the hate crew. And if you go against what the hateful people say, well, then you're a shill and you do this. It's like you just got to be able to talk about your opinion on thing. And my opinion on her is I think they were dumb comments. I think they were silly comments. And I think that she plays into a narrative that is just like, oh, we need to do this because if we say this, it goes against it's this false idea of what feminism is with what she was doing. And I thought there were some great comments that were said on the opposite from feminists.
From women, exactly.
Yeah, who are saying these things like, no, just because we're trying to find love doesn't mean that it's a dated concept and this and that. And I thought her comments were not and there's a reason why Disney was like, stop it. And the stuff with, but it doesn't make me go, I'll never watch anything with her ever again.
Right.
That's silly. She's a talented actress. She's great in West Side Story. I think that.
Me too.
I think that there are times that people need their publicists to say, stop this.
Yeah. Stop
this. Do not and this is the problem with Twitter. As we're talking about, it's a problem with. I mean, I know this wasn't Twitter that what she said, but she got on Twitter then to start defending herself and do it. It's like stay away from the gosh darn Twitter. Stop it. And it's the generation. It's the generation that does it in general too. I remember Schmodown. It's like people like competitors.
I know.
Fans instead of talking to people. It's like, stop, just fucking talk to people or take time. And for her, she's on this line saying like, oh yeah, cracking the thing about the prince and saying, weird, he's a stalker, weird. And that people use that shit against her.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to be careful of what you say. And I think that if you cast her in this movie right now,
right,
would I care as far as the performance? No, it'll probably be a good performance.
Right.
Do I think Star Wars needs because there's this argument, right, John, that people will go like, well, you can't give in to the mouth breeders. Right. You can't give in to the hateful people. Unfortunately, those people still buy movie tickets.
Yes.
So if they're out there, if you make a movie that they hate, they have an audience, and like I said, they're going to hate your movie no matter what.
Right.
A lot of times. But there are people that have like, look, you got to balance it out sometimes. And you got to say, look, a year, 2 years ago, easily would have cast her.
Yeah.
But right now, she doesn't have the best buzz behind her. You got to think business-wise too.
But even after the Hunger Games, don't you think that this would be maybe let it ride out maybe a month or two and then boom?
Hunger Games was shot already. And the Hunger Games also had an audience that was going to see the movie and is built in, and it didn't cost the kind of money that Star Wars is.
Right.
It's not 4 years removed from, or at the point, by the time it comes out, 6 years removed by the time the movie, 2019, dude, it'll be like 7 years removed from the last movie that comes out. So I think that it's not a smart move. I think for PR, it's just not a smart move. Talent wise, yeah, I think she's very talented, and I don't mind her. I don't mind her. I mean, but I don't think it's a smart move to cast her in that movie if that's the case at all. No. Yeah. Jenna Ortega, even someone that I don't know, is because it's like, stop getting the what's hot. Like, let's build new stars. You already got Daisy Ridley. You're gonna put another famous person in it that'll sell the movie. Let's use that role to build up a brand new star in the same way that you built up Daisy Ridley in the new trilogy.
Good suggestion, man. I like that idea.
So that's my thought process on it. All right, before we get into it, I see there's a lot of questions coming in. Please put them in there, but I do want to tell you guys, I'm pumped up. John, you're a coffee drinker, right?
Hell yeah.
Dude, I'm going to give you a deal here. It's Trade Coffee. Let me tell you about them. Trade Coffee, guys. Trade Coffee, to me, is just like, it's one of my favorite things. It was since I've been doing this show and I was introduced to them. It's great. And Trade Coffee is here to help you do more in 2024. You need Trade if you want to hit the ground running with your New Year's goals. Now, so you're like, what is Trade? Well, John, I'm going to tell you. Trade is a subscription service that sources the best coffee across the country, and it brings it to your doorstep. They built relationships with over 55 local roasters so you can enjoy their craft from the comfort of your own home. There's multiple ways to experience coffee with Trade. You sign up for a subscription or you try one of their starter packs today. Now, I absolutely love their medium roast, and they have the Pachito. Pachito is from Brazil. I love it. It's got such a good kick to it, but they have so many different flavors, and they have cold. They have so many different great choices. And every time people come into this office now, I'm always brewing Trade Coffee, and it always smells wonderful in here. So it's the best. And I got everybody, and I think John's the last one, because I think I get Coy and Steph and everybody's big Trade Coffee drinkers now. So if you want, and like I said, there's iced coffee, there's regular coffee, and the convenience of the delivery is so great, right to your doorstep. So jumpstart this year. You're signing up for a Trade subscription right now. Trade is offering a free bag with select subscription plans when you visit drinktrade.com/bigthing. drinktrade.com/bigthing for a free bag with select subscription plans. drinktrade.com/bigthing. You're writing that down, I see.
Yeah, I just put it in right now. So
you should, dude. It's awesome. It's so good. That's the one that you're gonna I'll bet money here. I bet you that when you get your first bag, you're gonna thank me, and you're gonna go, how can I get them on my show?
100%.
That's what you're gonna. I lost my mind the first time that we got them, and then when they came back, I was like, I've been using them for over a year. So anyway, so go and check that out, guys, and that helps out the show really, really well. All right, we're gonna get to these questions now, and you can still keep firing them in while we're doing these, and there's no cutoff until we hit the last one.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first one that came in here, and it's from our buddy over at Hotel Net Nerd.
Hey.
Hey guys, it's been a minute. Yes, it has. Why was Mario not mentioned in the best of vids? Did you see the video of a kid doing Rocky speech to Sly? Sly's reaction is priceless. I did see that speech, and I did see that kid do that. It was great. The two that I've seen that one. I've seen the Hogan one, which is pretty funny.
Oh
too.
my God, the Hogan one's great.
But that one was great because, and it's very similar to Hogan. They're going back and forth with each other on it. That was great. As far as Mario goes, I thought Mario was a cute movie. It's not in my top 10, and I thought I liked it more than most people. I thought people were a little harsh on it, but my kids loved it. I liked watching it with them. I've seen it a few different times, and I thought it was a nice representation of the game, but wasn't enough to get into my top 10.
Yeah, no, it's not my top 10, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah. Because I'm not a Mario player. I had never played the game before because it skipped me because I just gotten too old to play it. And so to me, I went in with that kind of like fresh approach to it. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I could totally understand people who are massive Mario fans not liking it because they have much more opinions on the lore than I would have had. But
see, that's crazy. I felt like the Mario fans themselves were the ones that like loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like it was I felt it was more so the people who were expecting more than kind of just like a greatest hits or kind of the music. Or like, oh, remember that? There was a lot of remember berries in there, but I liked it. To me, it was a more true version of it. Like there were certain things that happened. So either way, all right, our buddy Ed Haskell. Hey guys, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. I just watched Josh Horowitz John Wick 3 watch along with Chad Selesky, and it's awesome. Yes, it is. Chad says he'd love to tackle Star Wars and has an idea. We need this to happen. Yeah, look, I like him a lot. I do. I like him a lot, and I like his movies.
Sure.
I think Star Wars needs more right now. I think he needs more substance. I think that fun, kind of over-the-top action sci-fi. And I haven't had a chance. I didn't even finish it yet, but Rebel Moon, which we haven't really talked about. Yeah. Rebel Moon is it really is. It's all style. It's no substance to it, and I fear that's what this would be. Right. I feel like that's what this would be. And as I mentioned before, Star Wars needs wins right now. It needs to come out firing, and that's why there was rumors of like you guys said, like the Mandalorian movie coming out first, which that's kind of since been negated, right?
Yeah.
So like I I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't think Chad Zaleski is the guy to do a movie yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him doing a series, right? Like you did with Andor.
Yeah,
that was very much
sure.
Gilroy's perception of Star Wars. All right, let's see what Zaleski's perception of Star Wars is. Make it like that. But no, I agree with you because the John Wick films are great, but they're not. You don't go to see them for the really emotional, heartbreaking, touching story.
Right.
You go to see the action and you go to cheer this guy on, kicking a bunch of ass. So yes, it would be fun, but I think in a really small way, you could have that be in Star Wars, but not in a big way.
That's right. Now, if I walk it back a little bit and I say, because I recently did a rewatch of all the John Wick movies, and the first one has way more like, I guess, structure, story, and like there's more real, if anything. The fourth one, to his own admission, is a video game, right? Yeah. Now, if they made it's the same thing I said before with the Jurassic Park movie. If they made a smaller, like $80 million Star Wars movie, like a small movie, they would never do it in the theater. It would wind up be something that would happen as a series or something, but in the vein of like what they're doing with Echo, right?
Yeah.
And you did that with him, sure. But if you did a smaller movie with him that you were going to do, and like I would love to see Disney take those kind of shots and say, let's put a smaller Star Wars movie out and see how it does. Yeah. Let's try to put a Fox Searchlight version of Star Wars out. Yeah. Like, why couldn't they do that? You know, like why couldn't they cross over and do? Is it like they own both? So do a Fox Searchlight version of or not Fox Searchlight, but a Fox Pictures version of Star Wars, and say, look, here's $80 to $100 million to make a Star Wars movie. What can you do? Yeah, you don't get the 300 for this one. You get a smaller movie. What can you do? I'd love to see them do it. They'll never in a million years do it. No. Our buddy, the great Tim Sim. Hey, Happy New Year. You too, Tim. With Disney being the obvious box office loser of 2023. Well, they weren't. No, they weren't the obvious box office loser. They had apparently, from what those numbers had, they definitely didn't live up to the potential of what they thought they were going to do. I would have told you before I read all of that they were probably the biggest loser, but they weren't. Yeah. Is Disney focusing on smaller and more original content and must start the rebound in 2024, hoping the world doesn't fall apart this year? Well, same here on that last part. Yeah. But when it comes to, like, if you look at that strategy that they had, it looks like they're putting together a strategy that is really going to try to help them kind of build back and utilize the tools that they were kind of missing out this year.
Look, the Kansas City Chiefs just won their division, right? And so you look at it like that, because I know Tim's a big sports guy. You look at that, Tim. Yeah, the potential was there for them to be the number one seed in the AFC. They didn't get there, but they still won the division. They're still in the playoffs. Disney like that, coming in second. The potential you expected was Disney to be number one by miles. Right. But they didn't. They got number two, but they weren't off by much to still be number one. So a down year for Disney is a huge year for most studios. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like if those movies would have all hit, there would have been no competition. Yeah, it was in one way with Tim saying, like, did they have the most disappointing box office when it comes to what they wanted to have? Sure. But overall, I mean, they were number two, right behind, even with a subpar year, they were number two, barely behind the winner. Because they just have so many more tools. Yeah. By the way, what you call that guy was dummy.
Just said dummy. All right.
Dummy. All right. So Simon's section. Thank you, Simon. They're very, very generous of you. Great. Happy 2024, guys. John, it's refreshing to see that you're looking forward to seeing the American Society of Magical Negroes. Every other reaction I've seen hates it and thinks it's a black Harry Potter movie. Chris, John, I'm hopelessly devoted to. Well, hopelessly devoted. Very nice. A very nice Olivia Newton-John.
Nice reference
there. No, I haven't seen the trailer yet. Is it a good trailer?
Yeah, it's a funny trailer. It's got it's got the Harry Potter like vibe, but it's not about Harry Potter at all. It's about confronting this issue that some people have brought up, that some black people feel like they have to act a certain way around certain white people in certain situations. So it's a parody of that, and then it's also a romance within the trailer. You can tell there's a romance happening. So it's not just about the commentary, it's also going to be focused on the romance, and it's the romance that changes this kid and kind of inspires him to challenge what this American society was doing. So there's a lot more going on here in this trailer than people are giving it credit for, and so I just am surprised at some people having negative reactions to it. So
it's also, look, it's the quality of the film also talks about stuff too. Like although not always. When you look at, we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm still so bummed that movie just didn't do well.
Yeah, agreed.
So someone saw and this was the reason why someone saw our video, me, you, and Dan talking about it, and they said, I wasn't even going to ever see that movie, and then I checked it out because you guys recommended it, and I loved it.
Yeah,
and I loved it, and I think there were so many people that felt that way. That were just like, I'm not going to see this movie. This looks stupid. I can pass this and never worry about it ever again.
Right.
And it's a really good movie. Mike Joyce, have you two ever thought about growing out your beards? Beards are cool. I mean, this is the best I can get, man. Like when I start growing it out too much, two things happen. It gets patchy is part one, and part two, my wife goes, "What are you doing? Stop this. You look homeless."
I look like a 70s porn star if I start to grow mine out because I can't grow it, and then I get pulled over more often than not. So I look more Latino when I grow it out.
Well, you were one of these guys. I've seen pictures in high school. John was like 12. He had like a 40-year-old man mustache, and it was like, so
I can't grow a beard. I can't grow nothing out here, so it's only going to be here, and it looks terrible. Yeah.
So Lisa Frankenstein is directed by Robin Williams' daughter.
Yes.
And stars Jughead from Riverdale and Cassie Lang from Quantumania. Okay, thank you. That was from Al Johnson. Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Okay, John Lee. You guys have most anticipated movies and TV shows for 2024. For me, movies: Deadpool 3, Mickey 17, and TV Industry 2, and The Boys season 4. Yeah, I'm gonna put out actually my list. I always put my most anticipated list out in like the first week of January, so it'll hit this week. So look out for that. I'll have all movies, and I'll probably do a TV's one also.
Yeah.
Did you do one yet?
Doing it by the end of the week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So check us out there for sure. But I mean, Deadpool is going to be on there for sure. I can give you that. Deadpool and then Dune, because I left Dune off my list last year, probably without realizing, subconsciously. And it'll be up there for me too. I can't wait. Dune to I would like to go back and revisit though my most anticipated list of last year.
Oh yeah.
My number one was a big letdown.
That could be a fun Patreon thing for you to do.
Maybe it's not a bad idea. Revisit my anticipated list. Maybe I'll do that. Because like I looked it back. My number one was Indiana Jones.
Oh,
yeah. Didn't even come close to my number 10. Yeah. I had an argument with PLD because we did a live big thing on Patreon with me and Bibbs and PLD.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about, and PLD put Indiana Jones on his like top 10, and I mean, look, to each his own. And we were just, and Bibbs and I were just, poor guy, we were just like kind of not crapping on it, but just like, okay, solid choice.
I'm surprised that Harris doesn't even have a cameo in that film. I'm surprised it was top 10.
Yeah. Let's go. Kevin Frazier coming in hot. Kevin, hey guys, I was introduced to John through this show. Thank you, John, for all your content. And Kristian, your channel is like the community square for passionate movie YouTubers. All the best this year. Cheers to growth. That's very kind of you, Kevin. And I'm glad that you found the Outlaw through us. That's awesome. Good news.
Always thankful to Kristian for that. Yeah.
And I'm glad that you start checking out his stuff. He's got a lot of good stuff going on over at his channel. And and look, that's kind of my goal is what I try to do. I try to answer as many comments as possible. I try to get people. That's why I was kind of making a heavy push on Patreon too, because it allows me to get even more connected with everybody. Yeah. And that's why when I see a lot of people who are connected through Patreon here, I know them like kind of right away. Well, thank you. That was very, very kind of you. And thanks for the very sweet words. Okay. Next question. Alma Power. Love the hot mic and the big thing. Happy New Year, gents. Happy New Year to you. And thank you guys for everybody who's putting in these generous donations right now. It helps out the show tremendously and it's very kind of you guys. Mike Joyce, Steamboat Willie just got added to the public domain. How long before we get the blood and honey treatment? Someone will do it. I hate those stupid things.
Yeah, I know.
I hate those stupid things.
People are begging them not to do it, but someone's gonna do it.
Yeah. Because there's something. I mean, look, the other thing is what people don't realize is that I wonder how much that Blood and Honey trailer did on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then if they monetized it, right? Like it's their trailer,
right?
Like you probably make some money back on that freaking thing. Yeah. And like it's like how much? I don't know, but I'm saying there's ways to monetize outside of the actual box office. Plus, how much does that movie cost?
Yeah.
But I hate that shit. Like my and people go, why? Because like, regardless or not, like at the time, my daughter I think was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going through some stuff at the time, and it's like kind of anxiety and certain things, and she saw a trailer for that thing. It popped up, and it gave her more anxiety because it like tainted this idea of what Winnie the Pooh to a child's mind. Now, granted, when you get older, she'll get over it, but like it's like she loved Winnie the Pooh, and she has like this idea of it now. It pops up and it freaks her out.
Right.
And there's other things too, Grinch and other things too, and that they do, and it's like I don't know. I get it. It's the same with me. I'm not telling you don't make it. Go ahead and make it. Have a blast. I just think it's garbage. I think it's garbage.
It's like those parents that hire people or dress up as the Grinch, and like you've seen
Scares
those
them.
videos on TikTok, and they storm into the houses and take presents in front of their
Yeah.
children. I'm like,
Yeah, I saw
what
that.
are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you?
It's a fucked up thing. I don't understand it. Vincent Zawada. Bong Joon is a new movie. Mickey 17 is one of my. That's the one people were talking about a lot. I'm sure that one will be pretty good as well.
Him and Pattinson, yeah.
Yeah. Roman Fedoruk. Hey, Kristian, I know you probably have talked about this so much, but what do you think of the chances Disney actually alters their budget strategy after the over $1 billion in losses? Well, I think we just went through that list, and I think that I'm gonna counterpoint to myself right as I say this. Okay. In 2024, it looks like they are scaling down in TV releases, in movie releases. In 2025, it looks like they're just walking around the neighborhood with their dicks hanging around because they have everything coming out.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
But I think that that's probably the strategy. The strategy is this. All right. 2024, we take it easy. We re-release, hit, one comic book movie, hit, apes, boom, 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 boom. Let's make our money back. And then we can go, let's go with our gloves off in 2025. And then maybe they scale back in 2026. Maybe that's the move. I don't know.
Yeah.
You feel that's the same thing?
Yeah. It's pretty much, I agree with you 100% in that analysis of that and approach.
Yeah.
So that makes the most sense. And they're going to try things. They've been around a long time. They're going to try things, see what works, see what doesn't work. Why not make that effort in this next 3 years and see how the narrative around? Yeah.
Tim Sims back.
Ew.
Thanks, Tim. Also, what do you think of A24's expansion plans, especially with the news of working with video game mastermind Hideo Kojima on adapting his game Death Stranding as a movie? It'll be fascinating to see. What do you think about that, John?
It's interesting with A24 because they're known for a certain thing. Kristian, we talk about brands all the time, branding, this idea of brand. What are you? A24 is known for this. Expanding out is always dangerous. Exploring the possibility of becoming more mainstream with a brand that is known for being unusual films, out of the mainstream type films, independent films. It's a dangerous road to walk, right? Amazon Prime or Prime Video expanded out to try to make more of these films that are more mainstream accepted. Well, how have the awards gone for them? Not so well, not so strong. So I think that's the danger with A24. You start diluting the brand a little bit, start messing with the brand, people might pull away from it a little bit. So it'll be interesting.
Oh, but I'm still the freaking Iron Claw though.
Oh my God.
Great movie.
Such a great movie.
And other such nonsense. The Watcher is Shyamalan's daughter.
Okay.
Cool. That's interesting. Okay, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next one here. Thank you for that one. Ralph. I love Simply Ralph. Amazing. Rewatch return in 2024. Apes and Mad Max rewatch. Well, so it won't be a full rewatch anymore like we used to, like with Corey Winston and myself. But what I will maybe do is like kind of like a watch along thing that I had done with, let's say, Elemental that I did with Brett, and I might do a few more of those here and there. It's just for me, it's like Greg Alba does stuff where he's able to have, like, say, Roxy and Coy like do stuff with somebody else, and he's not there.
Right.
I don't have the luxury of doing that yet. So I'm still have to do things all myself. And first of all, I say that with Greg is probably the busiest guy in the world that I know. Like
100%.
The reason why he's not doing it is because he's got 7,000 other plates that he's juggling on his hands. The guy's the most hardworking motherfucker I know. But like but he's able to kind of have other people watch the films. I would love to get to that place, but right now I don't have the opportunity to do that. And I would like to do more of them, but it takes, anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to do all of it. And I'm working on this other stuff right now. So I'd like to. Are you going to do any of those?
Yeah, I would do Mad Max with you. If I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring, as consideration. You don't have to choose me, but I'm gonna throw it in the ring because I love those movies. Grew up on those movies. But I would love to have Greg on my channel one day and have a conversation with him. How the fuck have you not seen some of these movies, pal? I need answers.
Well, remember that's what I'm saying. Though. That's what he does. Though. Remember, that's what he does. Though I think that's brilliant. He has people on his channel that haven't seen it.
You're right. Yeah.
So even if he hasn't seen some of the stuff, there's other people who haven't, and so that's why he's finding a lot of success with that over there. And I think he's a very smart dude. He's a very smart dude. All right, let's see. Next one. And this is from Robbie Rob. Fandango ranked Ghostbusters Frozen Empire the third most anticipated movie of the year. Do
Really?
you think it could be a surprise hit of the year, and do you have bigger box office? Excuse me, and have a bigger box office than the last one? I do think it'll have a bigger box office than the last one because I think that people were so just over the brand at that point. It was similar like X-Men First Class, where they were like, okay, another Ghostbusters. I really enjoyed the last one.
Yeah, I liked it.
I thought it had heart. I thought it was cute. I teared up at the end, man. I teared up with the
Yeah.
ghost. I teared up. And my daughter loved it. My wife loved it. I think it is, and I think it also started to grow more of an audience through digital during the pandemic and everything too. So I do think it'll do better, and I do think it'll do pretty well for them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's third most anticipated. And Fandango's, they also sell movie tickets, so you
Right.
have to kind of factor that in when they're putting these things out there. But like to me, I think it is one of the most anticipated. I don't know about third, but certainly I'm looking forward to it. And adding Patton Oswalt, and I think bringing them back more concretely with Dan Aykroyd and other people, I think that's going to be the key. And you're right, the first film, I liked it, and the kids were great to bring
Yeah.
their life into it.
Yeah,
Carrie
the little
Coon,
girl was awesome.
yeah, she was. Carrie Coon,
Yeah.
Paul Rudd, all of them had the
Yeah.
right vibe. So yeah,
And I also like that
especially
they
going back to
didn't.
New York, which I think is great. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, that is great. But Finn Wolfhard is in the movie too, and they don't and they don't say, "Well, this is the kid from Stranger Things in it. You got to put him first and foremost." They don't. They make it the girl, and it's they're putting a girl in the good. It's like, she represented Egon so well.
So well.
So well. That little girl, I had never seen her before, and she was just so charming and so endearing. I thought not enough people talked about her performance. She was so wonderful in that role.
Yeah.
All right, here's the next one.
Okay.
Jonathan Peck. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? What 2024 movie are you more intrigued by? My movie Twisters, due to the cast, director, and reported budget of 200 million. I mean, yeah, that's one we didn't even cover, but yeah, that one is interesting. I think intrigued is a good question. I have to be honest. We mentioned it here today. I'm intrigued by that De Niro mobster movie. I love a good mobster movie. Yeah. If it's a good one. I haven't seen a really great one in quite. Although Killers of the Flower Moon was a gangster movie. It absolutely,
in essence, yeah.
It was. It wasn't an Italian gangster movie, but it was a gangster movie.
Sure.
So what about you, John? You got one?
Most anticipated? The Apes film.
Not anticipated. Okay. Most like intrigued by, like whether it's Bob Marley or something, like something like that.
Well, I hate to go simple, but I guess Dune 2, because I want to see if he lands the plane. Because that first movie I really liked, but like people said, they wanted to hold out their opinion until they saw both parts.
Sure.
And so for me, I'm very intrigued to see if Denis is going to be able to land this thing and make it a blockbuster, because no director has been more underestimated, more underappreciated than Denis Villeneuve in terms of the awards and what have you, and the respect. He's been one of the greatest filmmakers we've had the last few years, and people need to talk about him with more respect. And I think this film, if it lands, could finally get people to understand, appreciate him as a director.
God, I love the first movie. I mean, I guess I'll just spoil it for people too, which at this point I don't know. It's probably my number one. It's probably my number one.
Wow.
I just thought about it. I'm like, when that screening comes in, I will cancel my day for it. Like if they're like it's a 2:00 on, and I was right in the middle of something, I'd cancel my day for it. Like I'll be there on time. I usually get there half an hour before everybody else too at those screenings, because like it's not you've got a seat. You got to get a seat.
Yeah.
So I'm usually always there half an hour early. I will be there on time. Everything. I can't wait to see them because I didn't see the first one in the theater. And I want to see the first. I want to see the second. What I'd like to see is I'd like them to do a re-release of the first one in the theater. I hope so. I hope so. All right, here's the next one.
Okay.
Sandy Martin. Will we ever get our Masters of the Universe movie? I kind of hope not, to be honest. You guys know my connection to this. A lot of you know my connection to this movie and kind of everything that I've gone through with it in general. I don't think people have a grasp on it. Should be Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars. And I think that if they really followed the blueprint from the 2002 Cartoon Network series and they followed that lore, they could really have a hit on their hands and brand new lore that works. But I've just been in the kitchen with all the cooks and they don't know what the hell's going on. They just don't. They don't know how to do it. So I don't think they are going to get one. And honestly, I kind of hope we don't, because I don't think anybody knows how to crack it yet. How do you feel about it, John?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because obviously that one from the 80s is a kitsch factor.
God, it's bad.
I like the animated series that Kevin Smith was involved in. I enjoyed that by the end. But yeah, I think it's such a dangerous property to adapt, and you've got to get so many moving factors of it right.
Yeah.
Because it could all fall apart and be super cheese all over again. Then they've wasted all that money for another film that doesn't really do it justice. And the nostalgia factor, Kristian, people's nostalgia for that film or that series is massive. So
I'm telling you, dude.
If you fuck it up, man, people are going to tear you apart, man.
Did you ever see the 2002 series?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
So like, there's a lore behind why the sword does what it does, and there's a lore behind why Skeletor is who he is and what happened to him. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Yeah. My choice. I think studios will be spending a lot of money on indie films at film festivals this year. I think you're right. I think you're right because of Oscar stuff and things they want to get into the conversation towards the end of the year. And those Oscar movies also build talent like tremendously. And even though she's been established for a long time, this year is going to see an even more rise of Carey Mulligan. Carey Mulligan is, I guess I hadn't seen Maestro when we did our video.
Yeah.
You guys were 100% right. She is, as much as I love Emma Stone and I love Lily Gladstone.
Yeah. Bro, she's my choice. I know people are gonna get mad.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's gonna get mad at you for that, dude.
I love Lily, and I know it was talking about Lily, but
Lily's great. Lily was, when I'm watching, going, whoa, this is an amazing performance. Carey Mulligan is just next level in that movie. Yeah. Next level.
Because she's allowed to be. Yes. I think the negative thing with Killers of the Flower Moon with Lily is that Scorsese has her drugged up for the last hour of the film, which is super frustrating because you want her to act. You want to have more opportunity to act emotions and feelings and what's going on. And there isn't that opportunity given to her, but she does great work within what she's given. Whereas I think in Maestro, Carey has much more space to show you what she's bringing. Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Next one. Levi R. Why didn't Disney recast T'Challa? Feel like it was a slap in the face to the black culture. One of the only superheroes we have and you don't recast. So Winston and I have talked about this in depth, actually. I understand why people would want a recasting of T'Challa, and I understand why they did it at first. I do think that with multiverse and with everything else that they've set up, I do think that you should and could recast T'Challa. And I do think that it's not disrespectful to Chadwick to do so. But what you do have to understand is when they made the decision to do the movie that they did, they were in such a place of pain from losing this guy. They were in such a place of, we can't. Like, imagine if you were working with someone who felt like your brother and like a close part of your family, and that person passed away, and then you're like, well, we need to replace it with somebody else. Regardless of whether or not you may or may be right, the answer is, this is someone that they're like, well, we replaced him because it makes more sense to do it business-wise and everything too. And they're like, and even culturally, we're like, yeah, but are we disrespecting our brother by doing this? And at the time, I can understand the choice. I think, though, now with time that has passed and the time will continue to pass, is that you are right, where this does represent a character that is very important to Black culture. And I think that it is something that they should consider. And I think with multiverse, they should. But I do understand why they decided to do it at the time. Yeah. But I do think that you are right. I do think that they should recast. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. You can't separate human emotions from these creators. And certainly Ryan was very, very close with Chadwick, as he said on numerous occasions. The actors, as you said, Kristian, everybody involved had such love and care for him, and the surprise and shock that a lot of them felt over the way his death went down, where people didn't even know he had this cancer. And so people had to deal with their emotions of it all. Bringing in a new actor to play the character, I think, would have absolutely messed with it. Plus, people would have gone after him. Oh, you're not Chadwick Boseman. And that would have been very detrimental to that actor. So you avoid all that by going the other route. And as Kristian said so well, time heals all wounds. So now we're in a place where I think if they do recast, and certainly it seemed like they were laying the groundwork for that with his son at the end of Black Panther 2, then you can go forward with that possibility. So I do think they're absolutely going to recast. I just think they wanted to wait for time to go by. People to settle their feelings and love for Chadwick, and then they'll recast the character. So yeah, that'll be coming.
I think people will understand more so now than they would have back then.
Yes.
All right, let's see. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey, great name.
Hey.
Just wanted to send support. Thank you. catching the replay. Love all that you do. I really appreciate that, and thank you for the kind words. You got a great name, but I don't know if it tops Butt Funnel. 4.99. Thank you, Butt Funnel. Appreciate that. I always love when a good butt funnel.
Ew.
All right, here we go. I think that is that it. We're gonna find out in just a moment, John. No, it is not. Skeleton Strange New Worlds #1 fan.
Hey.
OG Ghostbusters was a mature horror movie with Bill Murray jokes. Then Ramis Aykroyd took the franchise into full family comedy and started there. Why can't they return the franchise to its origins? I think that the last one did have the mix of that. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but I do think that it had that element to it a couple different times. And I think that if you go back and watch the first one, sure, it had horror elements, but it's on par with a lot. It has jokes in it. Oh, but it's not like a full-on horror movie, man. It really isn't. It's got some creepy things here and there, but it's got some goofy stuff going on too. Slimer alone is pretty goofy. It's first and foremost a comedy. It really is. It's got horror elements. It's got scary elements too. But I think that the last one had more of its roots than the second one did. To be honest with you.
Yeah. And they're going to go a little darker with this one already, as you can see from the trailer, right? Where it's this hate that is feeding this thing that is freezing New York. So you're going to have an element of that, but no way does Ghostbusters move away from the family approach. No, it just doesn't make sense.
Especially when it was successful.
Yeah. They won't
okay. Hutzeisener. Okay. Have you all seen the Japanese film Monster that came out recently? Would highly recommend. I did not see it. Did you see it, John?
No, Obama did. It's on his top 10 films of the year.
Interesting. So, no, I didn't see that.
I want to see it now. Yeah.
Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah.
Dr. Bright, what do you guys think? Why do you guys think Vader is considered the greatest villain in cinema and not his master, Palpatine Sidious? He was behind everything. Well, first of all, you got to remember this, is that Palpatine didn't really come into play. Ian McDiarmid didn't come into play until Return of the Jedi. He was not like Vader was the first that people saw in 77. Ian McDiarmid was added into the franchise later on. He wasn't even the original actor when he appeared in hologram form in Empire Strikes Back. He was just kind of behind the scenes. It was Vader that was the front and center for the first one, and the second one, if you see Empire Strikes Back for the first time, it's devastating. It's a Shakespearean feel to it, is all these different things. So it's like that for the time, and then even the prequels where you see kind of how Palpatine was pulling the strings, you were so already established as Vader causing all this damage that it's not going to overshadow it from, prequel stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, and also Vader is such a cool appearance. And that's if you go in order of the release of those films, start with the original trilogy, Vader is just such a compelling villain that, by the time the Emperor comes around, he's not going to overshadow him. And he never does, because he's much more active. And so it's much more interesting because he's active, whereas Sidious in the back is just like kind of pulling the strings. That's not as compelling as someone who is actively doing the villainous things.
And I say this as Palpatine is my favorite character in Star Wars, by the way.
Well, look at No Country for Old Men, right? Someone hired Javier Bardem, but Javier Bardem, it would be the villain that you would most want to find out, not the guy who hired him.
Right. Right. Tim Sim, best role that Tom Wilkinson did for me is Benjamin Franklin in HBO. He's great in that. That's a good choice. So good. It's a really good choice. Yeah. Let's see. Tim might have closed us out. No, he didn't. Spidey Sense, who sends in a nice one. As a stand-up comic, Kristian, what are your thoughts on the latest David Chappelle special? I felt it wasn't his best, but I got a few laughs. I have not seen it yet. I've heard similar to what you just said, but I have not seen it yet. But I would like to check it out for sure, as I always watch Dave's stuff. Roman, hey again. I wanted to ask if you guys saw the Sly doc on Netflix. Did you see it?
Fuck yeah, I did.
I haven't seen it yet. If not, I know. I think it's worth a watch. I know people are mad at me that I didn't see it, but is it great?
I keep that title now.
Yeah, you can keep it. Is it great?
It's so good, and it's not what you expect because it's much more about his issues with his dad.
Okay, I think that's what it is, though, John. I think that I feel like I've seen everything. Is it like Arnold, where I haven't seen?
Yes, there's so much stuff here between him and his dad that I had no idea about.
All right,
there's polo shit. Him and his father are polo players. Okay. So there's a lot here that I think you'll be surprised by. It's not just, hey, I'm incredible. Look at all the shit I did.
Right.
It's more about like, look at the fucking things that drove me and why they still mess with me today. So it's a fascinating documentary.
Makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
Okay.
Elusive Rock just puts in a donation. Thank you,
Thank
man.
you.
Appreciate that very much. Okay, let's see if we are. I'm like I said, we stay on until they're not here anymore. But I think that might be it. Oh, I'm lying to myself again. Hotel Nerd Network. Which New Year's Eve show did you watch last night? The National Countdown was great with Leonard Skinner. Nice tribute to Gary, who we lost in 2023. I'm chuckling I'm reading that because, like I said, I was watching. My goal, Hotel Nerd, was to say, okay, I'm gonna give my daughter. My wife wanted to go to bed, so that's fine. I'm gonna give my daughter this marathon so I can then at 11:30 turn it off and we watch the ball drop. We were done with season 3 for her at 11:30, and then I went, I'm going to sleep. I didn't care. I went to bed. What did you watch?
Yeah, I've been feeling under the weather the last few days, so I went to bed early at 10, so I could even do this show.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I didn't watch anything. I just watched the parades this morning, which were cool.
Yeah, fair enough. Elusive Rock. Show Doom gain power through tech by Secret Wars. Oh, okay. And then I think that's why I think you probably put something on the top. Okay. Show Doom gain power through tech by Secret Wars, then have Galactus literally smack him into oblivion. Doom realizes tech alone won't do it and goes down through the WI strange path, becomes God. Doom. I guess it's kind of the breakdown of how to introduce Doom to Fantastic Four. Like, I'm excited to see how they're going to do it. I'm curious how they're going to do it. And then he kind of follows up again. But if Battleworld is the final planet, Galactus would need to consume it. Also, general audiences would accept Galactus as a bigger threat than Thanos due to scale. Look, you can accept anybody as a larger villain as long as it's written well, as long as it's put together and you care about it. Any of the casual audience, as long as it's not overcomplicated, which Marvel has been doing.
Which is why I think this year away from it, other than Deadpool, is so smart, because they've got to recalibrate what they want to do with this, and so they'll have time now to kind of plan this out.
Tim, to be fair, the first super chat was given before hearing the first story that Disney was on the biggest off. That's fair, totally fair. I kind of assumed that too, Tim. And Robbie Rob would love to see the Jurassic Park go back to the time frame to the first one and make it more of a lower budget horror film with someone stuck on the island after everyone left. Could not agree with you more.
That could work really well.
It would work wonderfully. Mur Toronto. What do you guys think about the Chris Jericho accusations? I don't know about the source, but Kylie Ray liking the tweet is telling. This goes back to my Twitter conversation. As I said, in the same way that I talked about Jonathan Majors, let's find out details first before you start throwing rocks at people. I'm not saying don't believe people. I'm not saying believe people. I'm telling you to wait for things to come out. Before I saw people running out, starting saying, "F you, Jericho." I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I don't know anything. I don't know. I know what some people are saying on one side of it. Haven't heard his case of it yet. Haven't heard other people's cases on the other side of it yet. I don't know anything. So I don't talk about it, and I don't tweet about it, and I don't start saying things on Twitter. Let people who really know what happened, stuff will come out. We are not a fucking jury.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be a jury, but I'm not part of it. You're not part of it. And stop doing stuff on Twitter, whether you're yelling at other people saying, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. You don't know. Whether it's defending Chris or whether it's going after him, you don't know. Until you do, won't say a fucking thing. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. You have to stay open-minded, and you have to look at what all the, as you said, evidence and details that come out and liking a tweet is not enough. And you're going to have more evidence, more people coming out. Let's hear the whole story. Let's hear from Chris, and then we all can make our own minds up.
Everything's like
jumping the gun just doesn't make any sense.
That's what happens all the time, dude. It happens all the time. One person says, this person farted on my face on New Year's Eve. What'd you fart in your face? I was just kidding. I didn't really do it. Oh, sorry. And I'm not saying that these accusations aren't true. They very well might be, but I don't fucking know.
Right.
And you don't know either. So stop doing stuff on Twitter and saying, you're lying. Jericho didn't do this, or you're telling the truth. Jericho did this. You don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
What's wrong with waiting and finding out?
It drives me nuts. Yeah. Simon Section, are any of you planning to do a reaction episode of Echo? I actually think I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if people dig it. In the same way that I did One Piece. And if it works out, then I'll keep doing it. But if not, then I'll probably just do a review. Oh man, you guys are coming in hot today. Haskell 420, get your creative mind on it. Be it any MCU phase not seen yet. What's a what if episode you would like to see and need to see? would you want a Star Wars what if? Well, that's how I was going to answer your question. I would want. I kind of am done with the Marvel what if. I haven't seen. I mean, I want to finish season 2. I heard it's great.
It is.
But I want to see. I shouldn't say I'm done with it, but I'm looking forward to them continuing it. But I want to see a Star Wars what if. To me, a Star Wars what if. I have countless amount of ideas of things that I'd love to see. But so I don't know what story I'd like to see it because they might have done it because I haven't seen the whole season yet. But John, do you have a question there?
What if Tom Cruise was Iron Man? I would love to see.
We have that. Do you know we have a video of that?
Do you?
We made a what if video of Tom Cruise on our Schmoes channel. Yeah, during 2016. Yeah,
that's awesome. What I'd love to see a what if with Tom Cruise, getting him to voice his version of whatever that character was going to be, and that would be an interesting episode to see what if that character became Iron Man instead of Tony Stark. So yeah.
Okay.
But Star Wars what if? Hell yes.
Yeah, please. The Raven Effect. Happy New Year, Kristian and John. Thank you. Looking forward to New Year movies, reviews, discussions. You guys keep up the good work. Thank you, Raven. Very, very kind of you. And we're excited to continue on. Armada, I'm scared Marvel is going to crowbar Fantastic Four and X-Men just for fandom's sake. They already set up so many new characters they have to utilize to wrap up the phases. Thoughts? I mean, I understand skepticism right now with them. It's like in the same way as for the fifth sports analogy, it's like your team's not playing the players you want them to play, or they're not implementing the right lineups. They're not winning the games they should be winning. And you're like, come on, let's get the coach. You've got the assets. Let's use the team the right way. So I understand it, but when the team starts winning, you're back on board. So I just want the team to start winning again.
Yeah, and like we got to give them a chance to do this. And how many people say, "Oh, they're rushing this," or "They're taking too much time," and then the product comes out, and you're like, "God, this was great!" And so you just never know, and you got to trust that because they've given us so many great phases that they are going to figure things out and deliver it, and judge it on what they deliver.
Right.
And then if it's great, then why did you worry about it? And the crowbarring thing, they're going to have years before this stuff comes out. It's not coming out next year, for God's sakes.
Right.
It's coming out. It's not out for a while. I mean, but 2024, it's not coming out for a while. So give them time.
Saul Torres, do you think that Huerta might be back as Namor even with the allegations? It goes back to the conversation we just had with Jericho. It's like, let's see what happens first. And they don't have to, they have so many different plans. They don't have to write him into anything at the moment right now. So they're probably similar to what they had to do with Jonathan Majors. Are probably just waiting to see what transpires, because what I do think Marvel did well was that they waited. They didn't do the thing where they just said he's fired. They waited. So anyway, what do you think about that, John? You think he'll be back?
There's questions around that one. So there's a lot more to that one, I think. And so there's going to be, I think that one's not going to be weighed as much as Majors. I think it all just depends on how they approach it and look at it. And do they want to use Tenor Schwartz? Because remember, that film wasn't necessarily the greatly received overall critics wise. Right. So we'll see if they even want to use Namor again down the road.
Just a very kind super chat from Philly G. Thanks, you, Philly G. Appreciate it. Let's see. Could be Just My Opinion reviews. Thank you, Just My Opinion. Thank you for being fair about the accusations. Respect. I mean, I just think it's a common sense thing right now. You gotta find everything out. So like I said, if it turns out, like I've worked with Jericho, I've spoken to Jericho, I text with Jericho 3 months ago. And if it turns out that the accusations are real, well, then he's got to do his comeuppance. He's got to pay for what he's done. He's got to, like, 100%. But I also say that you got to, no matter who it is, you've got to listen to everything before you just start roasting people on social media. It's the problem with our culture.
Agreed.
Squirtle Master Kenobi. Godzilla -1 was possibly the best movie of 2023. It was incredible. It was the best movie of 2023. 100%.
It's in my top 10.
It's absolutely amazing. The King of Belize. Thank God we get the king here. Any other wrestling biopics you think we'll see at some point? What I'd like to see, I know that they talked about it, but I don't want to see it in the way that they were going to do it. I'd like to see an actual non-WWE involved, which will never happen, biopic of Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Like with all the shit. I'd love to see that. And I'd love to see, who we didn't mention, and he's just started following me on Instagram recently.
Oh, nice.
And when he did, I said, I'm so mad I didn't mention him because he was so good, was the guy who played Harley Race in Iron Claw.
Yeah, he was great.
I knew he was a Harley Race from the second I saw him. He looked like him. He moved like him. Everything about him. He wrestled like him.
Yeah.
He looked. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you need in biopics like this. If you're going to do wrestling, you got to get rid of that flair type of nonsense. And like I think MJF playing Paul Orndorff.
He's playing one. Yeah, he's playing one of the Orndorff. Yeah,
he seemed like he was playing Orndorff, and he did that very well. So it's just whatever it is, it's got to actually for wrestling fans. Because we talked to Dan, the flair thing didn't bother him, but for you and I, it drove us crazy.
Oh my, it was insane.
You got to
came out and defended himself, but like, come on, I know you respected it, but you were the wrong choice. And the reason people are talking about it is because this guy did such a great job with Harley Race. Those guys did such a great job as the Freebirds. That's the reason people are talking about the Flair one, because everyone else seemed to really understand what they were doing and nail it. And this guy didn't. But yeah, his Harley Race was great.
I know that there was supposed to be a biopic, or at least a movie about the Benoit stuff. I know that was that would be hard.
I would love a Savage one. That's the one you got to do.
Me too.
You got to do
a good choice.
Plus the ending is so tragic. You got to do
and I'd love to see a Savage one. Do you think the Marvel TV show have made the Marvel franchise more accessible to the mainstream audience? Also, you're covering the 2024 TV shows. Yeah, I'll be doing the anticipated TV shows for sure, probably with Roxy. That might even be the full episode for this Thursday. But as far as the Marvel shows, no, I actually think the opposite. I think that by putting too many out and asking people to catch up on that much, actually through the audience member, the casual audience going, well, that's intimidating.
Yeah, you know, when Dan and I were doing a Star Wars review for the Book of Boba Fett, that's something Dan mentioned. Why do I have to do all this homework to watch this series? And initially I was like, well, that's what they're asking you to do. You got to do it. But clearly, a lot of people feel like, no, I don't have to do it, and I don't want to do it. And stop making me feel like I have to do it. So I think the Disney shows work for the people who are hardcore Marvel people and want to see everything. But for a majority of the mainstream audience, it was too much. So I think it actually, you're right. I think it pushed people away rather than bringing them in. So.
Well, speaking about bringing people in, you guys were great today, man. Thank you for all the wonderful questions. Very kind of you to join here today. Very kind of Rocha to join us on the show today on New Year's. Happy New Year to everybody. John, Happy New Year to you. Where can the good people find you?
You can always find me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Just type in the Outlaw Nation John Rocha if you don't want to remember the address, and I'll pop up. And I got the hot mic there, which with Jeff Snyder and I having a lot of fun. We've got the Geek Buddies there with Mike Vogel and Shannon McClung talking about everything that's going on in the world of entertainment. Got the Jedi Way with Smets and Laura Kelly, which is a lot of fun. My trailer reactions, reviews, all the stuff. And there's more stuff coming. You know me. I'm always changing things every year on the channel. So come and follow me there. And then my podcast, The Hot Mic, The Geek Buddies, and The Cinephiles, which is a great podcast I do with my director friend in Los Angeles. We're averaging about 200,000 downloads a month with our talking about a great movie every week and having fun with it and doing a deep dive on it. So come and follow me and listen to all my stuff there. And thank you, Kristian. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. Check out John's stuff. I really love the Hot Mic. I watch it all the time. I'm always trying to check on what those guys are doing. So please go over there and check that out. As for me, if you're brand new to the channel, you've never been here before, please subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned earlier, Patreon is so crucial to us this year. If you can be involved in it, you want to be involved with us and all the different benefits we're going to be doing. And I'd love to get your suggestions on it. So thank you. Thank you to our sponsors here today. The link's in the description for them. Always pinned as the first comment. And that's it. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing UAP Tuesday, myself and Riley. Wednesday, we'll be back with, I think Steph and Mike are back on Wednesday. I'll find out for sure. Thursday, we're definitely having Roxy and Brett on. And then Friday, Winston and Coy will be back for Capes and Cows. So we're starting off 2024. I think I have a couple of, I think I'm going to see that. What's the Wyatt Russell one? It's not Swim Fan, whatever it's called. Night Swim, close. So that one I'll be doing. I got Mean Girls I'm going to be doing also. So all these different things coming out. So thanks for joining me here today. I really, really appreciate you guys coming in and joining us on this first show on New Year's. So for myself and John Rocha, it's the big thing. We'll see you next time.